Hello, let's bring down the music really quick and then let's just bring me up. Hello, good morning to all of you awesome people. Let me know if the music's a little too loud. I'm going to let it play in the background for a little bit because I learned last time I got a small copyright strike for playing music in the very beginning. So we're learning things. YouTube's real quick with it. Good morning. I see that Dan was already in here 69 minutes ago. How you doing there? Good morning to Dan, Ethan, David, Kim, Kitty Smith, hi Lou, and Jack. How you all doing this morning, Jacqueline? I don't know where the button is for when I'm on a live stream, Jacqueline, but somewhere below the video player, probably over on this side here, should be a small box that says like YouTube channel member or become a member, something along the lines of that. It should be right below the video player. Or actually, I think, you know what? It might be below your chat box actually in a live stream. Should be down there perhaps. I have to cough. Give me 1 second. I just pounded like 2 eggs really quick. I got myself a Cliff Bar. I got my water over here to the left and my coffee over to the right. I sent out an Instagram letting people know I'm live. Did it really quick just so I can meet up with all of you. But hopefully you're doing fantastic. Thank you. I do feel like an old man today, especially since I was rushing. Did somebody become a member? I didn't see the thing pop up. I was getting my coffee really quick. I like to zap it in the microwave really fast so that way it's nice and warm and ready for all of you. All right, so let me get my files put up here. I didn't have a chance to grab everybody's that sent me one last night, and I really do appreciate the fact that you're all so on top of it, of giving me your artwork and allowing me to look at it, and sending me actually good files, which is tough because when I used to do this on like Twitch, people would send me like small JPEGs, which we couldn't really look at, but we're doing better here. We're doing good. So the ones that I have lined up, but obviously YouTube members will have first go, obviously, because that's one of the rewards that I can give out. But I have Kim, Lai Dan, which is Lai Dan or Lil Dan. And then I got Rob Murray, and then I think somebody else sent me one last night. I think it was I think David sent me one, which I can grab as well, but we'll see where we can go from here. But let me just jam out and say hello to you. Hello, Steph. I must missed you right there. Thank you for that awesome little handshake, hand wave. How is everybody's morning going for you? Did you guys work on anything unique or awesome? Do you plan on working anything this weekend? Also, happy Mama's Day to all of you mamas out there. Hi, Lou. Tell your mama happy Mama's Day from me to her. Hopefully you guys are doing something fun and exciting. I will be spending my Mother's Day. I'm gonna go over to my mom's house tomorrow, and that's basically it. My brother's gonna bring up his kids. We got I've got two nieces, 3 and 5, and they're most likely gonna play around the pool, run around, play with toys. I'll be wrangling them as Uncle does, be on Uncle duty for sure. And I don't know if I'll go in the pool, have a nice breakfast, mimosas for sure. That's where I get my energy to deal with the kids. And, oh yeah, Steph, you sent me one too. You sent it to me like last night, so I can grab those too. And what else am I going to do for Mama's Day? My mom asked me not to get her anything. When it was Easter, there's a person that was selling flowers really close to my house, so I just bought like 2 bouquets. And I took one to my sister-in-law, gave her one, and I gave 1 bouquet to my mama. And she's like, oh, those flowers are good enough. You're covered for Mama's Day. And I'm like, nailed it. I wonder if it tells me on my back analytics if anybody becomes a member on here. I'm still getting used to these analytical tools that YouTube gives to me. It'd be nice if it posted up in chat. Maybe it does. If any of you become a YouTube member during the stream, please let me know because I may not see it. I might. But if somebody like Jacqueline, who is trying to become one, does become one, the only way that I know you remember currently when I look through YouTube, through the tools that I currently have, at least the ones that I can currently see, or maybe this one does, no, that one does not, will be, it puts that little badge next to your name, just like Kimberly D has next to hers. So that way I know who to pick and go forward with. But let me catch up the chat since we're talking about Mama Wild and all the little wilds that'll be running around. Oh, thank you, Hailu, for letting people know how to do it on mobile. I guess I didn't think about the mobile one. That'd be something nice if they could introduce that or embed it a little bit more. Dan, you're eating a sandwich and sketching something. What are you sketching on? On the other channels, it comes with the $ in chat, but I only have super chat and super sticker options. It should allow you to do it, but maybe it's because you're on the mobile side. Steph, the things that you sent me last night were awesome, by the way. How did my closet painting come out? David, it actually went well. I'm a little pissed. I don't know if anybody's done... Oh, thank you, Hailu. There we go. Okay, so it does show up in chat. So Hailu, thank you for becoming a YouTube channel member. Thank you so much for that love, bro. I appreciate it. You awesome. The painting went well, okay? The problem I have is I used to use Behr paint all the time, which is in the United States spelled B-E-H-R. And it used to be a paint and primer all in one, and it worked fantastic. You only had to do like one coat. Now, recently, I painted my whole downstairs. It looks fucking great. And I started painting my upstairs now. So I did this room I'm currently in, which is you kind of see like that light gray color behind me with white trim. And I started doing my hallways and my master right now. And it went well. And so I want to do my closet so it all matches. But white takes like 2 or 3 coats now when it used to take one. So I feel like they're getting stingy with the pigment and binder in it. The gray that went on pretty well. But all in all good. The next project I'm going to paint for my home. I can't do my other hallway or stairwell because the ceilings are like 20 feet high. And I'm like at the age where I'm like, I can do it, but I can see myself rolling my ankle and falling. So I'll pay someone to do that. So I got to do my spare bedrooms and then I'm pretty much done and then pay somebody to do that. But it's going well. It's going well. Hey, what's going on, Kevin? How are you doing today, you awesome person? Aunts and uncles are the best. The reason I like being an uncle, and anybody out there that's an uncle or an auntie, the best part is you get to have your fun. Then when the kid starts being a little brat or dick, because we all know they can get there, you just hand it right back to the mama and dad, and you're like, I'm done. I'm good. I'm cool. I'm ready. Il-E is a Romanian name in English. It's weird to spell. How's it enunciated if I wanted to enunciate it phonetically, Dan? Flowers are always good. That's true. So we have a tradition in my family, Kimberly, and this is kind of fun. I'll be curious to know what you guys think. I'm going to increase my chat size. Give me 1 second. There we go. Much easier for me to read in my dyslexia. We don't do like flowers or gifts, really. We do scratchers. And if you're not from the United States or you don't know what a scratcher is, essentially it's like this little ticket that you get where you can win money. And on the ticket, it's got like games and prizes. Generally be like you scratch off your row of numbers on top. And then below that, you have to find, if you scratch off a matching number to your numbers, you win the corresponding prize under what you were scratching. And I don't know how we started the tradition. We did. My mom loves it. So now we kind of just like exchange scratchers every now and then rather than like birthday gifts or Christmas gifts or like special events. It's kind of fun. My mom really likes it. She's a sweetheart. Maybe one of these days, if we get to like a super achievement, I don't know, we get like the world's biggest dono, which is donation, or we get like 50,000 or 100,000 subscribers, or I have a video that just goes so effing viral it spins my mind. I will bring my mama on for either a live stream that will paint, or maybe I'll make a YouTube video with Mama Wild teaching her how to paint, and then we'll see how that goes. Thank you, Kitty Smith, for coaching people through it. If you joined last week, or if you joined at any time, it should have that little icon next to your name, like Hailu, Kitty Smith, and Kimberly. You're doing quite good. I'm doing great, Kevin. I'm doing great. I want to get through these, which we're gonna get here in a moment. I just like to always start my morning and my live streams catching up with you, seeing how you guys doing, what you're working on. The week's over, weekend, so it's kind of fun where we get to relax, have a little bit of time. I'm going to maybe work on a painting project tonight. I did 3 painting videos this week for you guys. One was released today, which you can watch after this video or this live stream, which is on how to make liquid white gel, which I actually just used earlier this week on the other video that you guys saw, which was that minimalistic sunrise painting. The liquid base on that is that liquid white gel, and it works fantastic. But I go a little more in depth of how it can be good for you and what you might want to use it, or an alternative if you don't want to support Bob Ross stuff. Yeah, I need to make you a moderator, Hilo. I got to figure out how to do that exactly. I'm still a little unique and I haven't time to dive into it. The only problem with the liquid white gel is I know a lot of people have told me or messaged me personally that you can't get gambling affordably or cheaply or accessibly in your country region. Jacqueline, thank you for becoming a YouTube channel member. Boom. There we go. Awesome. Thank you for that support. And Kitty Smith, thank you for coaching people through. And yes, it is like a little lotto scratcher card. It's exactly the same thing. You should be able to share the join link in chat. Oh, can I? I could probably go to... It's not a bad idea. I need to make that a command, actually. So let me open up my monetization. Member. And that's actually real smart. This is why Kitty's got my back. So here we go. Let's put this. Yeah. Boom. There's the join link if you guys need it. Thank you so much for becoming a YouTube channel member. I appreciate you guys so much. Yeah, this coffee cup right here. Let me hold up because I just minimized my other thing. So I used to stream on Twitch all the time, which I'll be coming back real shortly. I actually just started setting up new things for it. So this was a coffee cup that was made from my friend, Pro Mommy Gamer. So this side is haven't had coffee yet, and then this side is got my coffee. And I always thought it was so cute. So you can hold it like, no, still need my coffee, and then boom, finally got coffee. I like to collect some cups that I think look good. If she wins, do I get half? We have a rule. If it's anything over like $500, we split it. If it's under that, whoever scratched it won it, you know? Okay. Thank you for that love. Thank you. You guys are awesome helping each other through all that stuff. I need to get better at this. But again, we're working our way here. But now that you're a YouTube channel member, just like Hailu did, you can put your emotes in and have fun. And also, if you guys at any point, which we're going to start getting into our reviews here, if you have any particular questions for me, it really helps me out if you put the at symbol, which is if you hold shift and number 2 on your keyboard, it'll put at, and then you can spell out my name, which is Wild Creates. It puts it in a nice big orange box for me. It grabs my eye, so I can go, ooh, question. And it really helps me out because I'm dyslexic, so when I read all the chats, I get a little jumbled and mixed and all that stuff. Mixed and all that. So it really helps me a lot. No gambling here. I remember, Kimberly, because I think if I remember correctly, you told me you're in Utah. I have a great story before we get into our reviews here. When I was in college, I went to a film school. My degree's in cinematography. Hey, a little history about Wild here. And just like every indie student, indie film director, as they do, I went to Sundance. I think probably when I was 21, 22, 23, somewhere in there. And I drove there from Southern California all the way to Utah. I think it was about 14 to 16 hours. It's actually, even though it was a long drive, it was a beautiful and fun drive to some degree. But I get there, and this is like doing things on my own. Okay, R. Ellis, thank you for that love. And Nelson, how you doing there, man? So as we get there to Utah, we found a hotel on the way. We did this last moment, which took us forever to find one. We called maybe, I crap you not, maybe 35 different hotels. We finally found one. It was like a Hilton or a Marriott, but like the lower version of what you could get. Just one step above getting stabbed motel. But I feel pretty safe in Utah. So we go. The hotel/motel is right next to a gas station. And I had just been driving, and I'm like, you know what? I'm going to go over there. I'm going to get a bunch of junk food, maybe like a hot dog or something like that. And maybe, I don't know, something to drink. So I go. And I remember that Utah, to some degree, is like a dry state, and they don't really have booze there. So I can't get beer for me and my girl. So I was like, all right, we'll just get like some soda. I think we already brought like whiskey or something like that. Go over there and get my junk food, and I roll out. And the guy's like, anything else? I'm like, yes, sir. I'm feeling pretty lucky. I'm going to take a scratcher. And he looked at me, and I'm like, yeah? And he's like, you do know where you are, right? And I'm like, yeah. And he's like, we don't do that here. And I was like, what? I like blew my mind. I don't know why. And I was like, oh yeah, Utah. But Utah's beautiful. Literally a beautiful state. You got a bust out computer, but we got there. Cool, thank you so much. Alrighty, diddy duties. Let's start with our first, because I want to roll into it. Let's start with our first art review. Now, just to let you know, these will all be, I'm going to try to put YouTube members first, so that's the perk that you get. So if you want to, you can use the link on screen right here, now that I got it all cached, and I will grab your art. I don't know how many I'll get through. Generally, it's 3 or so. The faster I go, or the more clarity I can give, or the clarity that you give, we can try to jump some in here, but I can only got about 2 hours. We'll see how it goes. And yeah. So let's start with Kimberly. Okay, so Kim sent me one, and she was even, let me make sure I got the right one here. Let me pull it up on my side really quick before I show it to you. Yeah, this is the new one she sent me. So we're gonna start with Kim, our YouTube channel member extraordinaire. I'm gonna pull it up in Photoshop here. Let's roll over to our review section, and let's all take a look. I'm just gonna move my ugly face out of the way real quick, so that way we can all take in. And in fact, let's zoom in here really quick, or let's duplicate this layer since we learned that last time. And let's just work our way from the top down so you guys can take in everything that we have here. This is looking fantastic. You guys are amazing at what you are sending me. No joke. You legitimately are painting better stuff than I first did. Hailu can be a testament to the fact of when I first started doing, I kid you not, my first probably 20 paintings in the wet and wet style and following along with Bob Ross tutorials looked like dog crap. I was proud of them, but look, nothing as good as this. So you guys are doing so good. It's amazing. KR, thank you for the vids. Started wet on wet painting last year in your videos, Bob Ross and other improv. Hey, I like that. Thank you. I'm glad I can give you some cheers. Some cheers, make you happy and all that stuff. It makes me happy that you guys, I feel like I can give a little bit of entertainment, or sorry, I can give a little bit of value or answer your question with a solution, but also you allow me to be goofy and also give you some entertainment, because if I just pump out videos for answers and, you know, value, it's nice and everything, because I know I'm actually giving you that. I'm delivering the value. But when I get to be a little bit goofy, a little bit kind of quirky, and sometimes slightly naughty, which, you know, it's fun. When I get to have fun making the videos, it makes it a lot easier when I'm sitting here editing for 6 hours. Makes it a lot easier when I'm struggling over a YouTube thumbnail for 2 to 4 hours. Makes it a lot easier when I'm pulling my hair out trying to think of a cool title for an hour and a half, you know? When I get to have a little more fun doing it, it's well worth it. And I want to start doing a little more of that as well. All right, got my coffee. All right, so Kim, she's allowing me to call her Kim. This is fantastic, okay? What I would like to start with is our top here. You did a very good job with the gradient style of your sky, but we can make a slight improvement, and I'm going to get my brush out here. And let's get a red going. There we go, nice bright red. The first improvement we can make with our sky is what I like to always do is our safety horizon line. So this can be tough to visualize when you're doing your clouds, sky, and mountains, landscape, and all that. But since you know your mountain is going right here and going down and across, the very first thing you should do when you're dropping in your sky element up here is, I can't draw off the canvas right here, is you want to make sure you put your safety horizon line right around where your mountain's going to be, okay? And the reason you want to do that is because as you get lower to the horizon, there's more light diffusion and pollution, which means in this general area where you've created your horizon line is going to be more white. So when you're coming down with this blue gradient here, start strong up top. Let's see if we can, let's exit this to a blue real quick. Start like real strong up top, and then as you come down, start fading it more and more and more until where it gets right around here should be very close to white. You should have a white band, or not a white band, but close to white band, like right through here. And what that's going to do is it's going to make your mountain pop out even more, but it's going to create depth by creating more distance in your painting. And this is something easily do. As you take your paintbrush, start really strong here with pressure, then just slightly work down, and then as you get like right here, stop, okay? Do this with like a 1-inch brush. Then get your clean 2-inch brush, go back over here, and literally blend the fuck out of it and push down, push down, push down, and then stop, and then it's gonna blend into that white base. And already you've created a better background easily. Just takes a moment to think about that, but remember, safety horizon line will help you a ton, okay? Other than that, I would say when you get to, let's do a smaller brush here. When you get to, oops, let's increase our opacity now. When you get to right here and right here, make these your darkest corners and push that gradient this way. Or generally down is fine as well. But when you have these corners that are darker, you're creating a natural vignette in your painting. You don't have to do this. I personally do. I feel like your focal point is probably right here. So when you create darker sides that push to this, you're creating a focal point in your painting that's going to grab attention. The other reason I like it is it's a great way to cheat if you know you suck at making trees or bushes or, I don't know, shadows and contrast or water lines. When you create a focal point that's right here, your eye's distracted from all your mistakes and failures. I do it a lot. It's like, hey, don't look at this shitty tree. Look at this awesome mountain I did. And you can do that with the focal points that you create with the gradients and vignettes. Okay? So other than that, very, very good. Sky's good. And your clouds are fantastic too. You know, my favorite cloud that you have is actually this bad boy right here. The reason I love it is because, look, you have this beautiful defined crown that's in front of this other cloud that has this very soft bottom. And you got this one that's like got so much light and thick density into it. Like right here, there's like barely any cloud, but you can still see it. And then it forms into the front of the cloud. And then even more. This cloud is fantastic. This one's not so bad. I just think there could be a few more crowns. So when you paint your clouds and you've blended them in, go back with just a little bit of softer white, okay? A little bit of softer white in your fan brush. And only take the corner of the brush, dip it in, and as you come in here, I want you to literally like flick, like whisking, like pancake batter, with just a little bit of the brush touching, so it just kisses this point, maybe kisses this point, and maybe kisses this point, and then softly blend with the 2-inch brush, and now you've got these beautiful crowns that create a bigger kissing of light and density. It's going to make your clouds look like they just have like a little bit of flair, a little bit of characteristics, you know? And you can do that just ever so slightly on some of these clouds, but it also is going to really help define your light source. Since we have your highlight on your front side of your mountain here, we know our light source is coming this way, so all of your highlights should be kissed on this side a little bit, you know, just like that. You even have highlights on this side, so these highlights should technically be reversed on this side. Just little things to think about in the future. But all in all, I love what you did here. Definitely want to hang on the wall. I think this is a fantastic one. And Kimberly, if you don't mind letting us know in the chat now, what number painting is this? Oh, maybe if I was smart enough to read your chat message, I could see that you think this is number 6. For number 6, this is awesome. This is awesome. If I could find number 6, you would be like, oh my God, why is this guy teaching and giving advice? You'd be like, oh, is he all right in the head? Okay, let's get to the part where we're having some big struggles with, and it's mountains. We talked a little bit about this in our last review, okay? Gonna get a sip of water. When you come, sorry, mind wandered right there. When you come and do your mountain, you want to make sure you try to do it in a natural state. You have too many straight lines. In fact, you got too many mountain ridges. There's just too much going on here, okay? Let's simplify this. If I was going to do this mountain, what I would first do is I'd probably have my first stroke start here with my palette knife. All right, Kimberly? So I would wiggle my knife in right here. Then I would take it up, come down, and around, and down, and swoop out. Then I would take this ridge up, come down, and swoop out. And there you go. What I've defined here is I've only got technically like 3 peaks. I got one here, maybe kind of one here, even though this is kind of like a flat ridge, and one here. When you're starting out and you're struggling, don't feel like you have to do a fuck ton of mountains. Keep it to like 2 or 3. 3 is good because odd numbers are pleasing to the eye. So the next time you paint this, Kim, think about how you can create 3 mountain peaks at different heights, please. If you notice, This one is higher than this one, and this one is higher than this one, ever so slightly. It's going to add to the natural characteristics of the landscape, and it's going to be pleasing to the eye. Now, when you come down and across with those, oh wait, let's keep that here. Now, when you come down with your snow, these are going to be a lot easier because you can take your brush palette knife with that thick paint, and you can just carve down, just like this motion, okay? Carve down and fade, carve down and fade. And that's what we want. It's going to be easier because you only have to worry about these 3 motions rather than these 45 motions that you have. So when we take our side, remember to help yourself visualize by scratching in or carving in with your palette knife how you want your mountain highlight to fade. And this helps out a ton. Just scratch it in with the point of the back of the palette knife just like that. And now you've already defined how your highlight and shadow is going to go. So our highlight on this side, just like that, you know, boom, 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 fade off and away. And then your shadow side, fade, 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 fade. You can actually take this one and fade up, which would be sick. Fade, 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 fade these out, fade these out, fade these out. And look, within just a few moments, we've created like something that's a lot simpler, easier, and more attainable, and a lot less intimidating for you to do. You just got 3 peaks, 3 highlights, 3 shadows, and then as you get off to the side, really take your 2-inch brush, fade it out, and then fluff them up, and then boom, you've created a distant mountain, which is going to be a lot easier for you to do. Actually, let's just get rid of this layer. And that'll be way better, and you don't have to worry about it. Plus, when you really fade out this bottom down here, Kim, these layers right here are going to stick a lot easier. Just simple as that. Now, these background layers, they're not bad. They're actually very fantastic. From the illusion of a couple of flick strokes with a fan brush or filbert or whatever you used, these look like distant tree lines. However, your laying of your land is weird. It goes up and stops, up and stops. And then this one rolls over and goes into technically nothing. Land should fade in its own way into the natural hill. If you were going to bring this up like this, you technically have to fade it up into your mountain. And that can be very difficult to do for a beginner. So what I would say next time you make a land layer, just bring this up and then like down, and then you can bring the next layer over it, cutting it like that and across. Now you've created natural planes that fade naturally in your naturally in your environment / landscape that look a lot better. See how that simple change where I just brought this land up and over makes it look more natural, whereas yours fade up into like nothing. Something easy. Mountain caterpillars, that's exactly what they are. They're like wiggling their way up. That's actually the perfect definition for that. That's awesome. I didn't even think about that. But I do love the tree lines that you created. Also, you did a good job, but I feel like it was a mistake, which is fine. Mistakes are good learning things. You want to make sure you leave, like you did, light layers between your dark layers. So these do look different. However, the light layer should be a little more white underneath that bare canvas, so it looks like, again, light diffusion is causing the separation. When you go outside today, you're in Utah, and you probably got beautiful natural lands. Look at like a ridge really, really far. Look at plains that are in front of other plains that have deep or deepish valleys to them. You're going to notice the light reflection coming off the earth creates, again, that white cloud diffusion, light pollution. So the white layers help separate them out. And it's actually easier that way because there's less paint. So every layer you put on top is going to easily stick. So you don't have to create diffusion with like light green and dark green, which is more layers of color, which makes it harder to stick. You can just do dark green and then bare white canvas, then dark green, bare white canvas, dark green, and so forth. Okay? Now, these trees and bushes look good. The only problem is, and I struggle with this too. So if this was not a tutorial, or how do I want to phrase this? If this was off the top of your head and you're painting from your imagination, you did a fantastic job with this because that is very hard to do. However, if you're doing a tutorial, your land looks a little wonky because it's not shaped correctly, okay? It's in this S-curve motion. And nature doesn't go in straight lines necessarily. But sometimes you have to put exaggeration to your lines that need to be straight to make it look like it has depth and curves. Now you're probably thinking, what the fuck does that mean? Okay. Rather than try to paint these all at once where you add in this S wonky curve, it'd be easier, depending if you want to do a straight line like that or a straight line like that, to put in, let's just say this layer right here, one layer of trees, just like that. Then you would do this layer here as one layer of trees or land in front of it. So that way your land goes like that, okay? Or it's going to give the illusion of when you put your land in that it's going to curve like that, creating this river bank and flow bank. So that way you can take your land and flow it down into here, down into here, down into here, but more importantly, down into here, creating this separation of layers. And this is tough to do. This is extremely tough to do. Most people, when they make land, and I'm still guilty of this myself, we don't know how to lay the land, so we're like, oh, let's put in this big curve, and then this curve, and then this curve, and then this curve, and then it looks wonky, you know? Because you've got these perspectives that don't naturally go. Like this cut right here, oops, this cut should be like a lot thinner from the perspective as it goes in, because it would be pushing these layers back. So when you do segments, think about what segments you're doing and be like, okay, this layer of trees should go all the way across and maybe stop and fade here. Then I can put this layer of trees and go this way, which will take this land and flow it to this perspective better. It's tough. It's very tough, okay? I just want you to think about that. When you're putting in layers of land, think one layer at a time. It's very difficult. I struggle with this all the time because I paint from my imagination. And it's okay to do, like Bob said, one tree at a time, one tree at a time, one tree at a time, one tree at a time. So when you do a couple of trees, stand back and go, oh, sick. Now I can put my next tree here in front, pushing this layer back, and then this here, and then this here, and then this here, which will now make my land go like that, you know, making it look more natural. It's fucking tough. But the things that I do appreciate and love, your highlights and your grass highlights are beautiful. You've got all these different layers and highlights on top of each other. This looks like natural grass or natural moss or natural rolling hills. And these look like natural trees and natural, like, changing of the seasons with all these different things you got going on here. It's just the planes in perspective is a little off is all. Jack, you always have trouble doing grass and getting the perspective right to make it look real. Can you help? One of the best things to always do as you're starting off as a new painter is don't overdo it. Don't do too much. Keep it simple. Like if I was to give Kim one overall piece of advice here, other than the sky, because I think the sky is pretty spot on, simplify it. Like we just said, do 3 mountain ridges. Go up and bam and bam and bam and fade. Do like 2 hills, okay? We're gonna go up and down, and then maybe this one goes like that and across. Look, we got 2 hills. Now fade these grass hills down, and then if we're gonna do some bushes, okay, we're gonna put tree, tree, small bush, leave the less grass. Then, you know, we're gonna take our water, or our riverbank, sorry, our riverbank, and take it all the way across and like cut down just like that, you know? All right there, we've eliminated a lot of extra work, but still going to be just as impactful, but a lot more approachable and a lot less intimidating. When you have trouble doing grass, mountains, clouds, bushes, anything like that, simplify the number for yourself. You're still trying to figure things out. It's a lot easier to work on 1 bush than to work on 15 bushes. It's like dating, okay? It's a lot easier to have 1 girlfriend than 15 girlfriends. First of all, it's going to be a lot easier on your wallet. But when you can concentrate on 1, it's going to have better results, okay? So take a little bit of time and just simplify your painting a little bit, you know? Bob will always put like, you know, 3 trees. Give it a little bit of a happy friend, you know? Happy friend's cool, but nail that first one first and learn from it. Take your time on it. I'd rather have you make 1 decent tree than 3 shitty trees, because then you're just going to get down on yourself. Now, it's all about that tree fitty. Your land here ain't bad. Just remember to kind of like create, oh God. Your land should slope with the hills that you're defining. So, get on red here. So as you bring these are all straight down, Kim, which I understand. It's an edge, straight edge of a knife. I understand why. You just go boom, 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 boom. But when you're shaping these, you can go over, then down. Over, then down. That's going to create depth, like erosion has eaten away at these this ridge here. So it's going to give it more depth. And you can do straight ones, like perhaps it's not eaten as much here. So straight, 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 straight. Then to create that cove effect, we go down, 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 and then you can do straight again, you know? Like it's eaten away at simple spots. And that's just changing the angle of your knife is all. So go straight, 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 reload your knife, straight curve, straight curve, straight curve. And that's it. Simple tip right there. Now your water lines, I'm going to have to say, suck. All right? You see it, I see it, the community sees it. The good news is we can fix it right here. In one of my videos, it's the water line video. So take a look at that. I show you, hold on, let me get bigger. I had to pop my hand right there. Take your knife, and when you put paint on top or you put paint on bottom, it has different effects, okay? Some create more white caps or white wash and ridges, and some create stillness of water with water lines to them. Depending on which ones you want to do, you want to apply that to your painting here. And you want to take that thin paint, and don't be afraid to scratch. You can even grab a little bit of your land here, because remember, it's going to reflect or see through what is near the water ridge line. So it's okay if there's brown, you know, scratched in, or grass scratched in to your water. That's the reflections that it's doing. So take that and scratch it in. And the trick here is you want to do it where you think your land is sticking out. Water lines don't really hit too much into coves. They hit more on the peaks of where water's crashing. Whoops, wrong button. You want to hit, like putting a water line here, putting a water line here, water line here, here, and here, and then doing a couple down here, couple down here, couple down here. If you're establishing with these water lines are only created with moving water, more or less. So since this water is moving, probably generally in this direction, we need to add some water lines here. So I would add some water lines with your palette knife, then take your fan brush and fade behind them so it looks like the water is moving in this direction. It's very simple, very simple. And as you get closer, you can do water line that's faded, water line that's faded, not so faded, not so faded, thick texture. It's gonna give it more depth that pushes this whole painting even further back. You're not even seeing, sorry. There we go. Sorry, derpity derp. I'm getting used to this. All right. Then we have our tree. I think your tree is actually fine. The only problem is it's got broken limbs. Hard. This limb goes that way, this limb goes this way, this limb goes this way, this limb goes this way, and this limb goes this way. This tree personifies my dating career right here, okay? It's like, hey, things are going good? Oh, no, they're not. Oh, they're going worse. Hey, we're back on course, and she's gone. Hey, what's up, guitar? How you doing there today? How's it going on with you? But all in all, I think this tree is very good. I would say try to keep a little bit more of a narrow ridge to it, or sorry, not narrow ridge, narrow zigzag to it. And it'll add some darker spots when you add that narrowness, because you're going to be stacking up more paint. And then remember, this one's tough. This one's tough. Our highlight is here, which means that our sun technically is still on this side. So you would want to have more highlights on this side and less on this side, okay? So since you're going to be doing that, your highlights should also fade from brighter to darker down here. So they should be super bright up here and then fade a lot less. This down here, Kim, should be a lot darker, which again is going to help push that painting back. And then it's also going to make these bushes stick out even more. But all in all, fantastic. Now again, look, we still have a little bit of a wonkiness to the laying of our land, okay? You have a problem with curves. Oh, I like curves on a woman. Your land goes wonk, you know, wonk. It would be best if I would probably tap in like that and then tap in like that, okay? So that way it's got a little bit more of a natural flow to it. And it's also going to create a forced perspective. This right here is our foreground. So there should be a little bit more to our foreground to where it can come through and down, or it can even just come, you know, straight down to more or less. And then you could put your bushes right here, and then stack up on top of that and then have this beautiful grass. Because when you create this forced perspective down here in this corner, again, it's going to push all this back, creating multiple layers of depth. I do have to say, your highlights look fantastic. However, since this right here is our foreground, go a little heavy-handed. And I know this is tough because I still make this mistake myself, Kim, is when you get to your foreground, you get stingy with your paint. These highlights right here are almost the same thick texture of these ones. Remember, these right here are a lot closer than what these are back here. So these in the foreground should have a lot more detail. So you got to do one of two things. Either make these lighter by slightly tapping them in with highlights, or make these a hell of a lot thicker. And that's going to, again, push that all back. Other than that, I think this is a very good painting. I would love to see you paint this again. Oh, the other thing I forgot is your shadows suck on your mountain. You don't have any shadows fading across. It looks like you put in some, but they're just ever so slight. I would say when you start doing your mountains, it's okay to be exaggerated with the shadow side because it's going to let you click on things a little bit. But, you know, as much criticism I gave, it's all good, constructive feedback. It's just things you don't think about as you're approaching your painting, and I still sometimes forget. You got your clouds and skies are awesome. Your mountain structure, more or less, is decent. You need a lot of work on your paint breaks, and you need even more work on your shadow side, because look, you have nothing fading out down and across here. So simplify it. Your hills and grass structure is great. You just need help on how to envision the land as it comes across. Your water lines, need work, but that's the easiest thing to fix. Trees are looking pretty damn good. And your highlight perspective just needs a little bit of work to push everything back. All in all, dude, this is a fucking fantastic painting, Kim. And you deserve an applause. Golf clap. Golf clap for you. Good job. That was awesome. Call you Kishi? Like quiche. Can do quiche. I'm doing great, thank you so much. And I will do my best to remember that name right off the top of my head. Remind you of the Twitch coaching, you'd be on there. Yeah. I like doing the Twitch coaching. It's just, it got a little exhausting at times, you know? People don't want to make changes, and then they would argue about the changes I would tell them to make. But the good news is they would always come back 2 months later and be like, hey, that actually was helpful, the fact that you told me these things. So I'm glad we can do it. Kim, thank you so much for allowing me to review your art. I appreciate it. Thank you for allowing us to see it. Hey, what's going on, Trash? Where do we share our art? It's easier if you send it to me on Twitter or Instagram. You can find my information in my About section on my YouTube page. I've already got some for today that I'm going to try to push through, but well, you never know what we can squeeze in. I do YouTube channel members first. So if anybody else is a YouTube channel member currently that would like me to review theirs, let me know. I have in the chamber, I got Rob and Dan still, and then I know Steph sent me one. But I will do the channel members first before I move on to anybody else, because that's the reward I like to give. Oh, Steph, thank you for the $2.99. Thank you for that super sticker. Look at that. Or I guess anybody that does a super thanks or super sticker will get boosted up too. It's the easiest way I can do it. Oh, have a good one, Kitty. Thank you for tuning in. Yeah, what I always like to say, David, for whenever you're painting, and this could help Kim too, you would be surprised at how much it helps when you do that one tip I give in a lot of videos. If you can just go to the very end of your time code and screen grab the final picture, it helps you visualize a lot. Because when Bob's tapping things in, or Bill, or Paint with Kevin or Andrew Tischler, when they're doing it, you don't have enough foresight to be like, where's he taking this? Why is he stopping it here? Should I stop before that? Should I continue it further? But when you look at the end result, the painting, go, oh, he's stopping it there because we can put a tree here to cover up our mistakes, or, oh, we're going to scratch this part off and put this here. It helps so much more. So much more when you can visualize and see that particular spot. I'm going to take a bite of my Cliff Bar if you guys don't mind. All right. Well, if I guess I can do Steph's because of that sticker. That'll bump you up a little bit. So let me just take a bite of this. Or if Jack or anybody else that's a YouTube member would like me to do theirs, I can put those first. My husband is just about finished his turnaround. Should be able to redo my painting soon. Oh, nice. That's awesome. I would love to take a look at it. Steph, I forget what you sent me yours on. Was it Instagram? Or is it Twitter? Let's take a look. Also, I would really appreciate it if you guys send me anything on Twitter, Instagram, and if you like the content that I provide here or the content I provide on any of those social platforms, don't forget to hit that follow or sub button for those accounts. I like those too. It helps me grow, helps me have a bigger impact, allows me to share my stuff more easily with you guys. Guys and girls. Steph, where is yours? I know it's here somewhere. Oh, there it is. You wanted me to like review your like Barnhouse one, right? It was such a different one. I feel like the one that is more along the lines is the Sunset Sky one with the fence. But I guess if you want me to help on certain things, I'm not really a person that's really well adverse or educated on buildings because I just don't find them interesting, but I'll be more than happy to give my perspective. Oh, you don't have Twitter? It's okay. You sent me a few on Instagram. I saw that, David. I have those up here too. Hey, what's up, Paul? How you doing there today? But you let me know which one you want to pull in, Stephanie, and we can do that one next year. Where is? And then I have David's too. David, if we were to do yours, which one would you prefer that I do? You have like 4 that you sent me. Is there one that you struggle with most or one you would like more criticism on? No, do the sunset? Okay, cool. Let's grab the sunset one. Let me grab this image here. There we go. Alrighty. Let's pull up Stephanie's. Please, please, please. Please, sir. May I have some mo? All right, let me blow this up real quick before I switch over for you guys. Whoa, that was too big. First time a woman's ever said that to me. All right, let's pull this over here. This looks fantastic. Let me get my ugly face out of the way really quick. And while we do that, I can actually... Oh, Dennis, thank you for the... Oh, wait, that might be a subscribe on YouTube. Thank you for the sub, though. I appreciate it. I was curious if those pop up. And Kimberly... Thank you for the $20 dono. I appreciate that. Thank you for that super chat right in the channel right there. Thank you so much. You're awesome. And thank you for allowing us to look at your art. I actually would love to see you paint that painting again with the advice that we gave. Remember, you can come back to this VOD, take a look at it, and see all the advice and take notes too. All right, let's take a look at this. This is beautiful. This is Stephanie in chat right now, or Steph8208. So, oops, no, cancel. Don't want to convert the layer. I was trying to, so let's just scroll down and across here. This is beautiful. This is beautiful. Stephanie, may I just say, you've got real fucking talent. Beautiful talent. May I also ask Steph, if you don't mind answering this question, since I feel like we're friends now, what number painting do you think this is by chance? What number painting do you think this is by chance? And also, how long have you been painting? This gives us all perspective of how we can all look at things or take it from our own side. It's okay that's blurry. It's probably just not the world's best picture, like you took, you know? It's also a little bit of a forced perspective because this side's a little more in focus than this side. It's probably because you took it at an angle. Thank you, Kim. I love that. I feel like I got a hair in my neck. The one with the tall mountain. Okay, remind me when we come up here in the second and do it. Dan, I didn't have Instagram. I don't like it that much, but I said it would be easier than Twitter because they banned me. I don't know. Okay. I recommend if you plan on doing art for a hobby, a side hustle, or a career, get Instagram. Instagram, not because of your friends or anything like that. There are so many good inspirational pieces, inspirational artists, great educators in your creative field that you can use for your own benefit. There are so many times that I go through like landscape paintings or creative paintings or bursts of color threads that you follow, and I'll screen grab things and I put them in a art folder for things that are just inspiration. I even follow just like flowers or landscapes for the sheer fact that when people take pictures of like macro trees or macro flowers or macro wildlife, the colors I like, I go, fuck, that color would be great for blank, or this color would be great for that. Just using it for inspiration for that thing is a huge thing as an artist. So I recommend every person out there that has a creative outlet, get Instagram and use it for at least that benefit, because you're going to get so much influence from all these people all over the world, from all different ways of life, from all different viewpoints. That's really cool. Really cool. And that's the reason you should have it. You're working on a cheetah for a change? Like Chester Cheetah? Eating those Cheetos, bro? Hey, what's up, Pavel? How you doing there today? How's it going on with you? Okay, let's start with this. Let's just increase this. Duplicate the layer. Pull this in ever so slightly. My face blocks a little bit of it, but don't worry, I'll move it at certain times, or let me know if it blocks. Do I post links for your YouTube videos on Insta? I do on the stories. So when you click on like my face icon on the top, it's, if you're confused on which one it is, Paul, it's the handsome fucking guy on the top of your screen. A little humble brag. But you just click on that and then it'll have like a link that you can go to. I don't really do it in the posts because I feel like that's all it would be. I need to post more of my art. I'm slow. That's one of my goals for 2022 is to be a little more active on social media for things that I like. All right, so let's get our brushes up here. Let's switch over to red. So first of all, Steph, this is beautiful. Now, just for the educational sake, we are all gonna know that our light source is from right here because it's got this big, beautiful starburst of color that's looking great. You've been working on for painting about 1.5 years? Okay, cool. Thank you for the perspective of that. So we've all defined our light source here. So this guy is beautiful, soft starburst of colors. And I love that. I love warm, soft yellows, oranges, peaches. Peach is a very beautiful color. And I love how you faded it off from this side to over here. You're doing fantastic with that. The only thing, and this is only more of a personal perspective, is you've got these, it's going to be really, really hard for you guys to see, but you've got these hard ridge lines on the underside of your clouds, which is where they should be. Our light source is here, so it's shooting off in this direction. However, since you have these hard ridge bottoms, you need to streak this a lot harder. Now, you kind of did, and it might be something that you actually did more than I can see in this photo, but just take a little bit of white paint, take a couple of dollops, blend it in like this, just a couple X strokes very lightly, then take a fan brush, angled shader, or a filbert, and just pull and pull and pull and pull from a center point. Almost pretend like you had a peg and a piece of string and another peg, and that first peg is right where your sun is right here, and you're moving that string in different positions. So move, stroke, move, stroke, move, stroke, because it needs to come all from the same focal point, okay? Or center point, technically. Hey, Jack, thank you for the sub. That's probably for the YouTube sub, but I appreciate it, bro. So that way, you're creating these really, really strong God light effects. And God light effects is what would create these hard ridge lines. So we need to have that to represent the other to make it valid in the painting, okay? And it's an easy effect to do. You want to do it at the very end of your sky because it can blend with all the other colors and contaminate, so be very careful with it. And I would probably recommend using a dry is the key word here, second word, firmer paint, because that'll create just little speckles of strong light. If you want a great example of this, my friend Tally in one of our past paintings where he did the painting in acrylic actually used a ruler and dry brush with a very dry paint, and it creates those angles that look great. Second thing is, you only have highlights on the bottom, on the actual bottom of your cloud, and that wouldn't happen in nature. That would be extremely rare. You need to have, like, for example, here you have this cloud that's going up and around like that, and then you kind of have one here. These need to have bigger crowns on the bottom that fade naturally up into your cloud. And it could have it. It's not the best picture, but they should have more defined, because your clouds look extremely flat, okay? Like, if I was to look at this painting, I technically don't know if this cloud is in front of this cloud, or this cloud is in front of this cloud, or this cloud's in front of this cloud, or this cloud's in front of this cloud. When you start adding crowns, it adds density to your paintings, which gives the cloud depth, more shape, and more characteristics. So when you started, or when you finish building the body of your cloud with these light yellows and peach colors and pinks, then go, okay, where's my light hitting? My light's hitting from here. I got to put a crown here, but then I should probably put a crown that goes up and around, or there should be one that comes down and like that fades naturally and off to this direction. It's going to build more of a 3D environment in your painting, which is really going to make your painting pop, okay? And that's really the only critique I can give of your clouds. I'm not sure what's going on here. It looks like there's a purple blob. There's something behind the canvas here that looks like it messed up. I would just fade that out for next time. But all in all, this looks fantastic. The only other critique I would give in the sky is like what we did with Kimberly. I forgot the name. I don't know why. Is when you have your safety horizon line, you may want to fade a little bit more white down here for two reasons. When you put this layer on here, it's going to easily stick. But when you get over here to your horizon, it's going to come down with that natural fade, which is what would happen in nature. And to not personify that, whatever you call it, where you add to that effect, there's a word. Somebody much smarter than me will know this. When we add a darker color up here, which this should be dark. Remember, our light source is here. This is one of our brightest spots. This over here should be one of our darkest spots. Not darkest per se, but a lot darker for our sky element. This light should fade off here, which means all of this on this side would be way darker. And again, that's going to add to the environment effect of depth within that painting. Hi, Yovette. I love Yovette. First of all, okay, we got to go big screen right here. I love Yovette. First of all, if you guys don't know Painting with Yovette, she is an awesome CRI instructor that has a YouTube channel, which is called Painting with Yovette. She's a beautiful human being soul that gives way better advice than I could ever give. And she's just like a warm spirit that's just beautiful and fun. And she always has great videos. And I must say, Yovette, you have a great laugh. You're always like laughing at yourself, and I appreciate that within people when they're like humble. They're like, oh, and you can do this, and you giggle at yourself. It's so fun. If you haven't had a chance, make sure you subscribe to Painting with Yovette if you like to do Bob Ross paintings, Bill Alexander paintings, or anything with a wet and wet style. And she also does different styles of painting with that. Like I've seen her do, I think, Yovette, you've done like flowers and like candlesticks and other elements and paintings too. Great person to follow. Great person to follow and learn from as well. But how's your morning tree? Or actually, I think you live like in Florida or something like that. So how's your afternoon? Or maybe it's morning. I don't remember exactly. All right. So let's get back to the review side of this. So we established that you should have a little bit darker here. And this is super simple. When you're grounding your canvas or blocking in your colors stuff, all you need to do is just put a little more color here with a couple X strokes and just naturally fade it down with some X strokes, naturally fade it down, and just work your way towards your light source. And eventually you'll have like a band of white color here, which then you can use your, lighter colors and push that way. I would obviously start with the lighter colors first because, as we know, blue's super strong, so it'll overpower everything. But I just want to give you a visual point. And that's going to create more of a change. It's going to create more of a depth within your painting. Very, 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 very simple thing to do. Everything you did here is fantastic, but just some slight tweaks is going to take it from like an 8 to a 9 painting, Oh, no problem. You have that. What you got going on for your weekend? Happy Mother's Day, by the way. You gonna do anything cool or anything exciting? Anything fun? Okay. So let's move on here. You did a very, very good job with the perspective of the land. I actually feel like the land is flowing this way, more or less, okay? So since the land's flat and straight, I think it's okay. You may want to add either a perspective of a slight slant to your land going down or a slight slant to your land going up. Just depends on how you want to force your perspective rather than just being completely straight. The only thing I probably have a little bit of an issue with is I think you could bring your tree lines up and down a little bit more, and you could probably layer it a little bit, okay? It's too much of a straight line. Your trees should fade, or this is gonna be really hard for me to do in Photoshop. It should kind of just like fade, go up and then down, up, little peaks, up, and then this should probably be 2 or 3 layers. So when you're crafting these layers, oh, please go all the way back. Here, we'll just do this. This is gonna be quicker. When you're doing these layers, think about how this right here is probably its own layer, and then there's a layer here, and then there's probably a layer here. And you can define these by adding little white separation points in between it. Just take a little bit of liquid white or a little bit of titanium white, even that's a little creamier, and just put some dabs in there. Or actually, you could probably even take a little bit of titanium white with a little bit of this yellow, because our light source is behind it, and add a little bit and just slightly fade it or tap it in so there's this mist layer. And that looks like light is going to be shining through all the sparse patches of foliage. That's for you, Kim, because I always say foliage, in between these trees. And then as you work your way down here, this right here should be, or these spots down here, not so much on this side, this part down here should be your darkest spot because it's furthest away from the light source being blocked by all this stuff. This should be a lot darker. This is a lot lighter. It shouldn't be. Your shadows should reflect your elements, and you did a pretty damn good job of that. Since this is your highest tree here, this should be one of your longer shadows, but your shadows should be facing this way. Your shadows are going, go back, Ryan, switch. Your shadows are going this way. For here, it's fine, but when we get here, this shadow should stretch down, and then anything on this side, the shadow should stretch here. Remember, our light source is here, so it has to pull away. Just making sure I'm caught up. Hey, what's up, Brad? How you doing there tonight? Just started following me a few days ago. Love your channel. Well, thank you, Brad. I appreciate it. How's everything going on with you? Thank you for tuning in. Hopefully you get a little bit of education, entertainment out of this while I sip my coffee and have some fun. Okay. Now, this part right here, I'm going to move my camera out of the way. Oops, wrong camera. Now, this is a style approach. Nothing wrong with this. But if I'm going to give advice from my own perspective, this looks, I'm going to say Kim, or no, Kim, sorry, Steph. This right here, your laying of land, is beautiful. I really get the sense of depth by grounding in and blocking color. You got your shadows, you got your highlight side that kicks on here, which then makes this darker patch look like it's got a valley and a ridge that's pulling in. It is 100% beautiful. The only advice I could give that, if you like it, but it's just a criticism or feedback, is as you work from this layer to this, these should naturally go from being soft to semi-soft to a little bit of grass detail. And the way you can easily achieve this is when you put in your grounding of color, put in the grounding of color that you have like this. Then go over with a 2-inch brush and really work in the background layer here till it's velvety smooth. Then when you do your next layer, just tap in ever so slightly. So that way there's just a little bit of like grass or weeds or whatever. And then as you get closer to here, I should have made that in red, I'm sorry. And as you get closer to here, it's gonna be a little more detail that's gonna stick out. And then as we get here, a lot more detail. It's the same thing we were talking about with Kim. And that's gonna add multiple layers of depth and density and characteristics. And they don't have to be layers, since this is technically one plane, obviously, that's just graduating closer to us. You don't have to build them like Bob Ross layers where it's like layer, 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 layer. I'm just saying you tap them in on top of this layer so it looks like it's fading more naturally towards us, okay? I can't think of the painter out there that's on YouTube, but I could try to find it and send it to you. The way he does this is he takes a very, very battered up fan brush, okay? It's got like long hairs and short hairs. It's like something that he's had for years. And he'll put it into his grass color, and then he lays his fan brush almost virtually flat. Most of the color is on top of the fan brush, a little bit down near the ferrule. And he just pushes, mostly with the fan brush, like completely flat. And he'll just do that across the whole canvas of where he wants grass, and then he'll darken up the color a little bit to build shape, and then he'll lighten the color to build highlight shape. And he just works his way. He does it for hours, no joke, but he starts here and just works his way all the way down. And it looks like grass. It's awesome. I'll try to find that artist for you. If you want, you can send me a DM and I'll find that artist for you. He just did a video this week, and it's a great learning tool. And then, excuse me. Let me grab a little bit of water. I'm in shock. There we go. Excuse me. Sorry about that if that was loud into the microphone. And then as we build that grass, it's just going to add a little more density up in here. Let me move my ugly face out of the way. Here we have our tree. I love this tree. I really, 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 really do. I think this is a great tree. It's a little hard to see the highlights versus the shadows because it's a little not in focus. So what I might say may not resonate because it may actually be there. However, since again we defined our light source here, I think your tree could benefit even though it's silhouetted on the backside here, which is what it would be in nature because again our light source is coming from this red line here. It should still have a little bit of transition in colors. You want to have your strong-ish specular highlight here, which you do, so great job. But I would take a little bit of your sap green or whatever color this is, sap green, phthalo blue, and maybe some Van Dyke brown, and I would introduce a little bit of yellow into it, so it's going to lighten that green color, and just put ever so slightly, whoops, should do this in red, ever so slightly, a little bit of highlight, maybe like here and here. Just a few taps, because what that's going to do is it's going to take your tree and make it look like light, which would happen here, because there's a lot of fusion going on from it being on the horizon line, would come to your tree, and at certain points, it would kick through, hitting the back side of the tree, but also light is going to wrap around objects when it's softer, okay? It's got a lot more planes that aren't as parallel. They're scattered now because of that horizon of it going up and hitting certain things like clouds and coming back down. And when you do that and you just tap in ever so slightly, and you can velvet them out by a 1-inch brush or a filbert or whatever square brush you got, it's just going to help wrap a little bit, which is going to add a lot more to this tree effect. Your trunk looks fucking fantastic. It's beautiful. This hill down here, I'm obsessed with. Did a beautiful job. The only critique I could give, and this is extremely hard because I would not even think to do this. Since you did your tree here, you need to have a strong shadow because our light is coming in on a very firm object. So your trunk shadow should be aligned, and you could build your shadow, your lighter shadows around. Sorry, I like using different colors so it's more visual for us. Like that. You did a beautiful job of each harsh shadow on your poles on your fence here. You did a beautiful job of those. But remember, like we said for the trees up here, this is advanced shit. This is advanced shit. Since our shadow is coming this way, and then eventually coming this way, your shadows would transition from being super long to a little shorter, and then they would start to turn, and then eventually they would go that way. That's a super advanced perspective stuff. Nobody would know that except me, and maybe Yovette, but fantastic. The only other critique I could say is when you don't really get, it's hard again to see this, but your tree's on a little bit of a hill, so I would fade this hill a little more naturally into thicker grass up here because there would be thicker grass in this area because it's closer to us. And then I'm not really sure what's happening down here. Are you putting another element in this bottom right-hand corner, or Did we just give up and you're just like, fuck, I'm not happy? But all in all, this is a fantastic job. You have so many advanced skills in here. You have so many beautiful things. Like, look at the little highlight caps on top of your fence posts. Look at the beautiful specular highlights you got going on your tree. The beautiful fading of colors is fantastic. And your naturalness of your laying and building of your land is beautiful. You just have a lot more advanced techniques that you need to slow down and visualize a little bit and just go, okay, I've established my light source. How do my shadows fade? How do they transfer? How do I create a bigger contrast so it builds depth within my painting? This down here should be a lot darker, which means it's going to push all of this to the foreground. This down here is my furthest light source from here, so it shouldn't be as bright as the rest of the painting, you know? It's just, you have to think about so many more advanced techniques. What I would really recommend is when you go back, you can paint on top of this, more or less. It's gonna be a little tough when you get to certain elements like right here because your front posts are in the way. But you can add like more shadow here. You can build in more shadow here. You can even add a little bit of specular like kissing of highlights here because the sun is coming over and across. You can wrap this tree again in some highlight. And you can even, you know, accentuate the shadow off the tree, like we said, and even maybe bolden some of these as well, and then go back and add highlights on top of your clouds. And it's really going to add a perspective. If this is a ditch limbo painting, perhaps you're not happy with, oh God, I don't know why that keeps doing that. Go here. If you're not happy with it or it's just a practice piece, go back and have a little bit of fun and try some of these things and be like, oh yeah, it does look really good with these wrapped underneath highlights with the density of clouds it's building in there and all this cool stuff. And play around with it, you know? I do that with my paintings all the time. I paint something for a month. I get it like 75, 85% complete. It's not turning out the way that I want, even though it might still be a good painting. I set it aside, I go back and I go, okay, how can I play with this? How can I learn from it? You know, something like that. But all in all, Steph, this is a fantastic painting. Isn't it, Lorraine? This is so good. So good. I don't even paint this well. I shouldn't be critiquing this. The thing I love about this painting, I'm not sure how big it is. It's probably a 12 by 16, is since this has such blocking in of colors, and when I mean by blocking in of colors, I mean like when you're grounding your canvas with colors, and you're just like scratching things in and putting them in and putting them in and putting them in and putting them in, building land and putting it in and putting it in. You know, when you look at this painting from like far away, 8 feet, 12 feet, you're not going to see any fucking flaws in it. And that's what's so cool about it. You did an amazing job and you should be very, very proud. And I can't wait to see your next one, Steph. So good. So good. That almost reminds me of one of the paintings I did that I sold a long time ago. I doubt I'll be able to find the picture of it, but I sold it. I think I sold it to my friend. His name's Plea. I probably don't have all my art in here. It almost looks exactly like that. I'll see if we can try to find it and message it to you. And it was an impasto painting that I did where I did the background in wet and wet. Then I did the midground more traditional. And then I did the foreground with like impasto palette knife, where it was a center front tree, kind of like yours in the lower left-hand corner, but a little more up on the foreground. And it was a tree going, my idea was a tree that was going through the seasons. And it had lost all of its leaves, but all the colorful leaves had fallen to the bottom. So I built above ground roots, and on those above ground roots, I took little flicks of a spaded palette knife and impasto paint of different colors and like cut them in. So it looked like all these thick leaves were piled up and then across, and it was awesome. And I did that just experimenting on a painting. I took a painting that was complete, but I wasn't fully happy with, and I was like, you know what? I'm going to paint and try something new, and I did, and somebody really liked it, and you know what? I sold that painting for $200, and I'm happy. A little bummed. I probably should have held on to it, but I liked it, and they liked it a lot too. I can't find it real quickly on my phone. But if I do, I'll see if I can find you the picture. Maybe I'll post it on YouTube or Instagram, one of the two. If you guys haven't had a chance yet, you can follow me on Instagram and you can follow me on Twitter. Still trying to grow all of those. How long have I been doing wet and wet? That's a good question, Jacqueline. I don't know. It's a good question. I would say somewhere between 5 and 8 years. I don't know the exact number. When I first started doing wet on wet painting, I started my journey with wet and wet for probably a lot of the same reasons many of you have. And I worked a job where I made decent money, but it stressed me. Plain way of saying it, it stressed me the fuck out. I had a boss that was a dick. We worked really long hours, made good money, but he didn't reward us in any way. And I was feeling really, really stressed. And I was like, you know what? I remember growing up after watching Saturday morning cartoons, which is such a shame they don't have that anymore for kids, because I feel like that was such a big thing of my generation. Watching Saturday morning cartoons, and when they ended around like 11 or noon or 1, Bob Ross would come on. And I remember catching him multiple times, and I was like, man, that's so cool. And one day I had an epiphany after work where I was like, you know what? Fuck it. I'm going to go buy on Amazon a Bob Ross kit. I bought the master kit. I bought a small easel. I bought the thinner. I bought like cleanup supplies and a few other things or canvases and things like that. And I painted live for the first time on Twitch, which is also a live streaming platform. And Highly will tell you, I don't know if he was there for that very first one, it did not go well. But the people that tuned in to watch me live stream it, I think I completed a painting in like 3 or 4 hours. The people that tuned in, they're like, oh my gosh, it actually looks like a sky. That looks like a cloud. That looks kind of like a mountain. That looks kind of like a tree. That looks a little bit like a lake. And I was like, you know what? It does. And I stuck with it. So I was probably doing 1 painting a month when I first started out. That's all I could find time to do between work and streaming and going out and stuff like that. And then eventually it became 1 painting every 2 weeks. And then eventually it became 1 painting every week. And then it became 1 painting every other day. And I did that from like the first year to maybe the end of the second year, to where I was blowing through canvases and learning every mistake possible. I was learning why clouds were getting contaminated, why my whites aren't standing out, why my contrast isn't looking natural, why my mountains look like triangles with tiger claws going through them, why my paint won't break, why my shadows aren't looking natural, why my grass looks like a blob of green, why my trees look like crap. And I wasn't learning on how I was getting better. I was learning on all my mistakes that I had constantly made, so that way I can improve from them. And that's the way that I learned, which is why I like to teach you all. I didn't go to art school. Well, I did go to art school, but I went for art school for film and photography. I didn't go to art school for painting. It's just a passion of mine. So when I try to teach all of you, and when I try to teach you anything, I teach it from the perspective of that I have made all the mistakes centered around this one element or asset that I'm teaching you. So I'm going to show you how to avoid that, so that way you can do this and be off on the right foot. Whereas most people, like Yovette, and this isn't like a dig or anything like that, have the experience of how to do it correctly the first time, which is a great way to learn. But I teach you from the perspective of, look, hey, the reason your clouds aren't looking good is because you're most likely having these 3 common mistakes. When you first put on your cloud and it's not sticking, you probably put on way too much liquid white. So to correct that, you know what we can do? We can take a dry 2-inch brush and work off a lot more. If it's still not sticking, hey, take a blue shop towel and scrub off the place where you want to put the cloud. The reason I give that advice is because I found out that's how I fixed my air. Where somebody in the very beginning would be like, all right, when you want to make your cloud stick, make sure you put on a thin coat of liquid white. But they won't explain what thin means to you, or give you an example. So that's the way I like to approach teaching, is I've just made a bunch of mistakes. And you know what? I'm always going to continue to make a bunch of mistakes. But the reason that doesn't bother me is because I like to learn from them, and I get to share that with you, which I feel like it's extremely beneficial for you. Because 1, we all make mistakes. Two, it lets you know you're not alone. Somebody who's been painting for a while still makes mistakes. I make mistakes all the time. I actually made a huge mistake on a commission painting. A commission painting that I just finished that I'm not even going to sell for the full price, and I'm super pissed. But I'm going to make a video on it. Oh, you guys are going to love this one. Ryan lost out on a couple of $100 for a painting he was going to sell. Ugh, that's first story that we'll save, though. You started streaming then after I joined a community back in 2015. Yeah, so whatever the math would be there, 7-ish years? 6 years or so? Okay, is anybody else here that would like me to do one of theirs, or I can move on to the next one? We could probably do David's. David's is, was kind enough to be in here. Sometimes you just don't feel like it, unfortunately. What do you mean, Stephanie? You just don't feel like painting sometimes? That's fine. I go through that too. I was watching Bob Ross videos for my stress, and I was like, I can do this. I haven't painted in a while, though. Couldn't paint while pregnant. Just being busy, being a new mom. That's fine. The cool thing, and we talked about this last time, I think it's great to have a creative outlet, and I look forward when my nieces get old enough to do creative things with them. They're still in the phase. They're only 3 and 5 to where they're entertained with something for a moment, and then they're on to the next thing. When they get to be like, I mean, I don't know. I don't have kids, but I'm imagining probably around like 8 to 10, 12, somewhere in there. It's going to be so much fun for me to teach them how to paint, how to have fun with colors, express who you are, have a creative outlet in life, because it's going to build confidence. And since they're girls, I want them to grow up with passion. I want them to grow up with drive. I want them to grow up with desires. I want them to be like, you know what? I can fucking do this. Boom. You know why? Because Uncle Wild showed me how to do this. And it's so cool when you pass that on to someone that you care about in the next generation. And that's why I'm so passionate when I do these live streams with you all. And that's why I'm so passionate when I do my videos. Like sometimes I'll get the occasional comment where somebody calls you or like, bro, you have too much energy, or why are you faking it? Because you know why? I'm excited to make the video. I'm excited to teach you. I'm excited to share information. I'm excited to take you to the next level. And it's not fun where I'm like, welcome to Wild Creates. Today's video. Oh, fuck. We're going to show you how to make a cloud. All right, get out your paintbrush, you bastard. Gonna make a cloud, fluff it, whisk it. My ex-wife. Oh, she's taking so much money from me. Oh, yeah, cloud, you know, 2 hairs and some air and just whatever. You're not going to get at it, whatever. Just move on. Like, no, you got to have a little bit of patch. You got to have a little bit of fun. That's what makes YouTube videos so much fun for me. How do you send me a painting, Lorraine? You can send it to me on Twitter or Instagram. Information should be in my About section of my YouTube channel. And I'm starting out with YouTube channel members. So let's move on. Let's move on to David. You want David? We want to do yours, buddy? Oh, no, I'm sorry. Stephanie, thank you so much for allowing us to look at your art. Thank you for sharing it. Thank you for allowing me to critique. Hopefully you enjoyed it. And thank you for having the courage to show it. I think you have amazing fucking talent. Amazing talent. And I'm saying that with a Cliff Bar in my mouth. That's how much confidence I have. That was great. I love it when you guys send me your art. I really, really do. Okay. Your son's 15 weeks old today? That's awesome. Congratulations. Hey, what's up? Oh my God. Ryaon? Hopefully I got close to that. What's going on? I'm doing fantastic. We're just doing some art reviews right here. And you're an artist too. What kind of art do you like to work in? Or what medium, if you don't mind me asking? Jack Hartley, thank you for the super chat. I appreciate that, man. What brand and size bags do you use for your thinner bucket? I use Ziploc, which I believe is made by Glade, Glad. I could be wrong on that. I think it's Glade Ziploc bags, 1 gallon bag. But you know what? Those are the more expensive bags. If you can get anything, I don't know what country or region you live in. If you have something like a Dollar General, Dollar Tree, or a Big Lots, Go there and just buy the old seasoned ones. You'll notice sometimes when you go shopping for supplies, if you can get out of season supplies, it's like half off. I use wax paper, Ziploc material, cellophane wrap. What do you call the sticky one that's like cellophane wrap? I can't think of what it's called. It's like Glade Lock and Seal or something like that. I get ones that have like Halloween decorations on it, turkey decorations on it, 4th of July, Christmas stuff. I buy that stuff in bulk when it's after that season from like Dollar General and Dollar Tree. I don't care what it looks like. Nobody's gonna see it around here. So I buy that stuff for like 50% off because you can use like the Glade Lock and Seal, which is that saran wrap. If you're done painting for the day, you can throw that over your palette, push out all the air so it seals it down and tight. You can use the Glade bags and put them in. If you get the thinner, cheaper ones, they're only going to last like 1 or 2, but it's okay because depending on if you do a lot of painting, just let all that sediment of the pigment sit at the bottom. Use that syringe that I showed you to pull out the clean thinner. Then you can throw away the other bag once it's dry and safe for the environment. All that cool stuff. But I use Glade. It's just easy for me. I have a Dollar Tree near me that I buy that stuff at. Oh, I can, here, I'll pull up Stephanie's one more time for you since you missed it really quick. It's a fantastic painting. It's even more fantastic when I take my ugly face out of here. Look at that. Look how beautiful that is, Rye. Question, what if I'm not on those social medias? Yovette, you can email me, which is perfectly fine. Again, it's in the YouTube About Me section. You can just click right on the email address, and we can do that. I would love to take a look at one of your paintings, and I'm sure everybody would. But Yovette, what I would recommend is you should get yourself... I think you have a Facebook, if I remember correctly, from your YouTube channel, but I could be wrong. But you should at least get yourself... We were talking about this earlier. You should get yourself an Instagram. Not because it's not fun to always keep up with social medias and posts, but you have beautiful, awesome work. You've got a talent, you've got a gift that you want to share your knowledge with, which we all appreciate. If you guys don't know Yvette, she also does wet on wet paintings. She does educational videos for artists and Bob Ross style and wet and all that fun stuff. Give her a follow. But the reason I recommend everybody gets a gets a Instagram is because you can use it for inspiration. So many good artists out there, so many good ways to get inspired, so many good educators out there from different countries, different religions, different backgrounds, different use, different ages, that you just get all these cool influences from, and it's really good to see all that stuff. I was getting David's here. Give me 1 second. David, do you remember what you sent it to me on? I think it was Instagram, right? You think I'd have this all set up? I am clicking on every wrong button here. Give me 1 second, guys. David Fonda. Oh, and I think you said what was the Big Mountain one? Please let me know in the chat if you don't mind which one you want me to do again. I think you said the Big Mountain one. Like the song Rye-Ann on? Okay, Rye-Ann on. Can I just go with Rye? I feel like that's going to be a lot easier for me. Regular bags always leak. I've never had a regular bag leak on me, but I do sometimes double bag it. So that might be why. Yeah, Jack, the syringe hack is awesome. And somebody actually gave me from the YouTube community that, and that was awesome. Big Mountain one, thank you. Okay. Remind me here in a second. Somebody just send me a text that I gotta reply to real quickly. So I'm gonna do the very unpolite thing, and I have to reply back to it. So you're gonna see my face looking down while I just sit here. You like the Lonely Tree? I did a painting that I want to share with you guys all at some point. I need to paint it again because I actually gave the painting to my father for Father's Day gift years and years ago. I called the painting One Tree Hill, just like the WB show back in the day, or I guess what is CW now. And it was an inspired painting. I hope I still have it on my phone. So I live close to an ocean city called Dana Point, California, which I think I'm going to take you on one of my adventures there one of these days for painting. Where down in the harbor is an art store, a creative store. It has things beyond paintings, but it's got paintings, glasswork, ceramics, things made from the ocean like driftwood, sculptures, and all that stuff. It's a fantastic little store. But I went there on a date a long time ago, and there was this painting, hanging in the window. And I walked by and I did like a double take, like one of those, and I was like, damn, that's a cool painting. And it was minimalistic, which I'll explain in a second. Or I'll explain now. I don't know why I'm saving up all the stuff. Where it was just all these different gradients of colors blended in the sky beautifully, kind of like what we just saw with Steph's. And then it just had one hill tapped in like Bob does, one hill in the background with colors underneath it, and then another hill in front of that hill that was way close in the foreground with one tree that came up on a single stem trunk with a little bit of air roots. And the tree was just almost like if you took the cap off of your paint, squeezed it, and pushed around in the shape of a tree. Then they probably let that dry, then took the highlight colors with the tube and went around it from where the light side was coming in. And it was awesome. It's this super thick tree done in this way where it looked like paint tube paint, which just pushed in and squeezed, pushed in and squeezed. And I went, that is a cool original idea, which for me, it was an original idea. And then I was like, oh, I wonder how much he was selling it for. $2,000. $2,000. And not for me to judge anyone's art and what they value it at or what they spent the time in or materials, because I hate when people undershoot me on my prices all the time too. But I go, I don't know if that's worth $2,000. And then my second thought was, fuck, I could paint that. And I did. It didn't come out as good because it was my first attempt, but I want to show you guys how to do that. A $2,000 painting that I could show you how to paint for probably $37, including materials and canvas and all that stuff. And it was so cool. So maybe one of these days we'll do that as well. Oh, I got to reply to my text message. I'm sorry. Hey, what's up, Lamps? How you doing there tonight? How's everything going on with you? Or today? Sorry, I usually stream at night when I used to. Yeah, you can rewatch this after you're finished. It'll become a VOD. Hold on. I gotta take a look here. Just take a look at... Oh, did anybody do anything cool for Cinco de Mayo? I have to look through an email here to see if I'm meeting somebody at a certain time, and I can't remember what time it was. Oh, maybe it's easier if I look through my messages on here. No. There we go. Okay. Oh, 110. Okay. And... All right, cool. Thank you. Sorry. I hate when people do that to me, but I have a normal life that I'm living for the rest of this day. Two people, you can't get people to buy my stuff now. I will show you. I've never really considered myself an artist. I mean, I probably should. I just don't know why. It's under Wild for Games, technically, Lorraine. Hailu might be beneficial enough to type it in there for me. I've never really considered myself an artist. I just consider myself a person who's passionate with a creative outlet. But I've sold multiple paintings. I would say I've probably sold over 200 paintings. No joke. None of them, not all of them good. Not all of them good. Some of them to friends, obviously. I want to be out front. It's not like I say I sell every painting for $500 to $15 to a few $1,000s. I've been very fortunate to sell paintings for some big sums of money, and I've sold some paintings for as little as $15, $25, $35, $45, $50, you know? But in my career of doing art, I've sold probably 200 plus canvases. So I know what it takes to sell art, and there's a lot of showmanship and salesmanship to it, which I will explain in one of my videos. But one thing I have learned, to sell a painting, to get your value and price for it, you need to learn to be confident in you and your artwork. But more importantly, you need to craft a story around what that art is. And I don't mean some long-windedness. You need to sell that piece of work to that person emotionally, okay? And you do that by crafting a story behind that art. So for instance, if we were going to take Stephanie's art here really quick, She needs to tell us what this art means. And I don't mean like emotionally, like, the colors represent the light and dark in my heart, where I was just going through a bad time in my life because I once saw the new Batman movie and I spilled my popcorns and it fell all over my laps and I had wasted $14. And at that time I figured, woe's me. No, that's not a good story. What you need to do is you sit down or you're talking to someone and they're like, hey, I like this painting. You go, you know, I like it too. When I was painting this, I was thinking at a time, and I'm going to do a horrible job now that I'm on the spot here. You know, I was thinking at the time, I wanted to really capture a piece of land that was in Montana that I visited. It really took me back to my youth, and I always remember having these big, bright, beautiful colors that would look great in a house with open space. Because since the contrast of these beautiful starburst colors going into this darker land is really going to create a focal point on a wall with lighter colors. Hey, what color are your walls? Oh, mine are white. Oh, so something like this would look really good. But even more so, if you grew up in a land like I did, where you just had vast open land, and it took you back to a little bit of a simpler time, that's kind of what I wanted to capture in this painting. I want to have a little bit more of an open space, but still have some focal points that draws your eye. Here, stand back really quick. Look at it from like 10 feet away. You see how the colors and the light plays off the land there? You coach them into things that they want to hear or how it could look good in their home or their house. And they go, yeah, you know, okay, let's say they're not into it. You go, you know, not a big fan of like peach or cream. Hey, well, if you're not a fan of that, I've got another bright piece over here that's got these other colors on. It's all about redirecting or guiding them in what they want to hear. And that's how you sell art. It's a lot easier. You don't want somebody to sit there and do one of these, you know, where they got their shoulders up and their finger on it. You want them to like lean back, relax, and be like, have a slight smile and be like, yeah, you know, those colors would look really good on my wall. And you know what? I do need something that's a little more open and personifies or accentuates my open concept area. Like, you coach them in, you go, oh, that one would be great there. Or even if it's not, I got this other one over here. It's all about crafting the story and coaching and guiding them through. And that's how you sell. You don't want to sit there and be like, hey man, you like it? No? All right, fuck you. It's like, you can't be like that. Or when they're just like, it's not. And you go, okay, well, what are you looking for? Talk to them. You know, they're like, you know, I love blue. I really love blue. Hey, I've got this beautiful oceanscape over here. It's based on San Clemente, California, where it's got this unique perspective that most people don't get to see. They're like, ooh, unique? Most people don't get to see? That sounds like that could be really cool because it's one of a kind, you know? You got to spark an imagination. People offer to buy yours, you just give them away usually, and that's fine. What I usually recommend is I go, hey, you know what? I normally give these away for free, and you're willing to pay, so how about we find a middle ground? You just pay me for what it costs to make the painting. So that way I can buy more materials to keep painting. And people will be like, yeah, no problem. And you're like, all right, cool. $30, $40, whatever it is, you know? All right, let me pull David's back up here. I'm going to move this off so you guys don't see some of the YouTube thumbnails that I'm working on for you guys for new video. Oh, that's way too close. But we'll talk about that in a video. It's a really in-depth subject, and it's tough. You have to have confidence in you and confidence in your art, and you have to realize that sometimes people aren't going to like your art, or sometimes like you, or sometimes be interested to buy at that point, or wanting to afford. Rye, you sold one. The person thought I was doing it for free, and I was like, no, it's 150. Told them before, and they got upset. That's fine. You know your worth. Stick by your worth. I went to a outdoor art festival where I took probably 30 pieces. I think I only sold 4. It was the first time that art festival had been going on, and they didn't really know what they're doing, so there wasn't much traffic, which really sucked. But one person had came up, and I had this big, maybe 3x4 canvas of an acrylic pour, and he's like, I like that. And he was like, how much? And I was like, this is when I first started off, and I was like, $250, which is actually a steal for that, because the canvas itself was probably $70. And he was like, it's not worth that. And rather than argue, I'd go, okay, sir, well, if you like it and you want it, and if it's still here, you're more welcome to it. Or if what's your price range? Maybe we can work out a deal on one of my smaller paintings or something else. Or, you know, we could do a bundle. There's always ways to work things positively, but if they're just not interested, it's okay. There's another day where you can sell something. Is it better to tape off the edges of your painting or paint the sides? Personal opinion. Personal opinion. I think it really depends on the art piece, what you're trying to go for, and the canvas. Some canvases, I actually like clean white edges like you saw in that sunrise video that I did. I think it looks good because it looks like it's popping off. But sometimes painting the sides is really good too. It's just personal preference. Oh, thank you, Yvette. I don't know if I have time to get to that one today. I think I got a little bit more time here. Let's move on to David's. I like the questions that you guys are asking. I'm glad that I can help you guys out and give you like some personal stories or background. Okay, so this one is from David. David's actually in the chat, David Fonda. So if you want to let him know if there's, I don't know, critique or feedback you'd like to give him, or just say, hey, good, nice job, and do a nice little golf clap, that'd be awesome too. I'm going to take another bite of my Cliff Bar here, so please forgive me. I fixed my chair. So tough being so entertaining and awesome for all of you guys. I love doing this. It's fun. I'm glad you guys are liking this too. Do you guys like these live streams? I was thinking once a month, but if I can do it more than once a month, and if you guys really, really like it, I could try to do it more often. Okay. I love my acrylic pours. I want to start doing more of them here on YouTube, but I've been having a hard time. Buzz off, non-buyer. Shoo. That would be so awesome to say. I'm done with you. All right, David, this is great. We got a lot of things that we can easily fix here that are just some simple changes that I think you're going to like. Just like we did with Kimberly's, I think you would really, really benefit from simplifying your painting. Now, I don't know if this is based off a YouTube tutorial or anything like that, but my advice for this going forward is I would recommend that you repaint it another time, okay? Because it's going to help you learn from your mistakes. And when you repaint it, I would simplify this painting. So I want you to think of that as we're going forward, all right? The very first thing we're going to talk about is your sky. Your sky looks great, but you have the same mistake that Kimberly made. Not mistake, but one thing to focus on, okay? One thing to focus on is you want to create yourself a horizon line. We need to know where your horizon line is so that way we can work from there. And it's going to help you with two things. It's going to create the natural gradient of what looks like in nature, because remember, as you get lower to the land, more light is reflected up, creating that banding of light diffusion and pollution. But it's also going to have less paint there, so that way you can easily stick colors on top of, which we'll get to in a second, because we can tell we have a lot of hard time for you mud mixing up in here because there's so many thick layers on top of thick layers. And as I know, that can be a problem. All right, so let's start with our sky. You did a beautiful job with your blues. I love how this side transfers into this side. So you've got a dark contrast going between these two. And that's fine because our light source is over here. We got our little sun, just like that, okay? So you can have this fade the way that you do. And I think that's beautiful. I think you did I need to make a layer on this. You did a fantastic job with that. However, what I would probably do is, since we've established this is our shadower side of our sky, is bring that shadower color down. You somehow have it like just stuck up in this corner. Fade it down, which will push all this light source this way, add an angle, and it's gonna add more natural depth in your paint. It's gonna look so cool. It's gonna look so cool. So just remember to pull that color down in a natural gradient style. Hey, what's up, Brenda? How's it been going on with you? I love your videos too. No, thank you. I appreciate it. How's your day treating you? Okay. Now, this is a personal preference. You have all these cool clouds here, but nothing over here, and that's fine. And that's fine. But what I would probably do is create two clouds here. You got 1, 2. Let's eliminate this guy and then put one cloud over here, because we're still going to have 3 clouds, which is going to balance out the painting. We're still going to have 3 clouds, which is going to be pleasing to the eye. But now that we've moved one over here, it's a little more balanced. It doesn't need to be balanced. There's no such rule that a painting or environment or a landscape needs to be balanced. I just feel like there's not anything on the side, so it could probably help. But again, that's just personal feedback. The criticism and feedback I do want to give is your clouds are all straight lines, okay? And this is tough. We're gonna do over here in red. When you're putting in your cloud, pretend my mouse cursor up here is the corner of a fan brush that you've loaded up with a lot of white paint. It's gonna be very tough for me to do with a mouse, so let's see if I can nail it. When you come in, push, just like that, okay? I want you to push in, and as you come in, whisk. Whisk up, whisk down, whisk over, whisk up and left and right, and start creating just the outer edge, and let's just say it goes over there. Now when you come down, let's see if I can actually do this. This would be interesting. Let's take a smudge tool here, make it a lot smaller. Now when you come in with your 2-inch or 1-inch dry brush, you can start whisking out and pulling this cloud in the direction that you want, just like this. It's gonna move up, miss that tree. And now you started to build a shape. And what we wanna try to do, there's no rule in nature of how clouds are, but generally due to pressures in the atmosphere of hot and cold, most cloud bottoms are generally flat. Generally flat, okay? So try to pull it more or less into a flat-ish bottom if you can. And then when you take these crowns and lift them up, there's gonna look like little kisses of wind and light going through it. And that's gonna help out a ton. Yours are going in these straight lines. Add ups, add downs, add lefts, add rights. The whisking of that brush and pushing, let's pretend let's do this. Let's pretend my hand is a fan brush and my other hand's a canvas. When you push in, all these other bristles are gonna hit at certain points. And when you whisk and go up, these bristles sometimes hit. When you whisk and go left, these sometimes hit. And when you go right, these sometimes hit. And it's just gonna add these little crowns and densities to your painting, which is really, really gonna help out. Clouds are tough because we all think, this is tough. We all go, oh, a cloud should look like this. Big puffy cotton balls or like little crowns and stuff. And while that's generally sometimes true, it's not always true. You know, clouds are random. So have a little randomness to your hand motion. It'll help out a ton. And just remember to fade them in and give them a little lift and a little bit of a kiss. But other than that, I think they're great. You look like you have some, oops, I'm still on my blotch tool here, or smudge tool. Oh, I don't even need to be on that. You still have a little like smudging on the bottom here. So when you come across, make sure, what I recommend, I'm getting my thoughts all mixed up here because there's so many things I want to say. When you're making your clouds, don't be afraid to pull the body of the cloud down and in. And the way you do that is lightly come down with some X strokes. It's gonna pull that crown a little bit into that body, building it up a little bit more. Then when you X stroke across the bottom here, it's gonna fade that out. Then you can give it a lift nice and up. Then the part I wanted to say to you is, since we have all these blotchy spots like here, here, and here, and even some in the middle here, when you've done all those prior steps and you go across and fade naturally, it's gonna work out all those imperfections, and then you're gonna have some amazing clouds, okay? Hey, Robert, how you doing there, man? Sorry, I was in the midst of the review there. Just want to say thanks and peace. I appreciate it. Thanks and peace to you, my friend. Still working a little bit on my cold coffee. Hey, Angie, how you doing there? Better late than never, story of my life. Hey, at least you showed up. Unlike some of my Bumble dates. Gosh, Brenda. Not you, Brenda. The other Brenda. The one that showed up late or never. That's another story. Okay. So we nailed the sky. Now we've got the mountain. My first tip I'm going to give to you is I'm going to move me away real quick. I would say, David, let's lose this mountain here. It makes no sense. It really, really doesn't, because it looks like it's a boob or a pimple coming out of your landscape for no reason. It's actually distracting from this huge, awesome, like rigid dome glacier mountain that we've got. This thing right here is sick. I love this design, okay? But the problem we have is we got so much thick paint on here. So to fix this, we're gonna go back with our simplification. Simplification a word? It is today. First of all, I would not tap the top of your canvas. We're losing a lot of the effect here. If you wanted this thing to look like a Matterhorn, you would bring it up way thicker. Like it can't even be encapsulated in this awesome framing, okay? I would bring your mountain down in here and then simplify it, bring the dome over. You want to have this little ridge, all right, little ridge, and then fade down and out. This side, let's bring it down. Little ridge up, down, and fade out. Just like that, okay? Then, sorry, I'm eating my Cliff Bar. I'm getting hungry, boys and girls. I'm sure you'll cut me some slack. And then just like what we said before, we're going to carve in with the pointy side of our palette knife. Guten Tag. What's up, LT? Hello. Hello from America. How you doing today, buddy? Then with the pointy side of your palette knife that you stick over, let's carve in a line. Now, your line is straight down, and that's fine. This one, I would say you could actually get away from it. I feel like there's such a vertical slope to this mountain, you could go straight down. But if you didn't want to, you could probably take a line here, scratch down and up, and then maybe a little bit like that, okay? Same thing on this side. Big slope. I would probably make this one a little more like that, but that's just my personal opinion. But let's just go down with the downward slope. So down and up, and sloping out. This side here, go down, and it'd probably stop right here because our shadow side's coming across, okay? Then, now we know what we can do for our highlight side. Here, let's make this white just for a visual side. Make this brush a little bigger. Maybe not that big. Maybe not that big still. There we go. So now when you take your snow, you can just carve down. Oops, maybe not that far, sorry. Carve down, just like that. Then we can take our shadow side, fade out. Bring this down into here, fade out. This down into here, and this down into here, this down in here, and so forth and so forth. And then we can fade all this down here at the bottom. You got to remember where your mountain needs to stop. Whoops, that's the wrong tool. You need to remember where your mountain's going to stop. So stop painting like right here, because then you can fade this out from all down here. So there's less layers. Plus, when you do that, it's going to push that mountain back because it's going to look like there's light diffusion again. And then when there's less paint, which you can rub off with a paper towel or your 2-inch brush, then when you put your tree layers and your background layers, it's going to stick a lot better. Let me move myself out of the way so that way you guys can get a better visual for it, okay? This will be a lot easier for you. Plus, when you've really worked in all that paint, things like your mountain highlights and snow shadows are going to stick a lot more. It looks like you wanted to do so much that, you know, you've got this extra layer here and this extra here for diffusion, that it's just not working because there's just too many thick layers. Again, let's simplify this painting because I think it'll help a lot. I don't know why I keep doing that. So we already eliminated this. The next thing I would say for you, okay, I can tell trees are a struggle for you, a real big struggle. So let's simplify this again for you, David. This right here, let's move to red. I want you to take, let's see, how would I do this? Give me 1 second. 1 second. Thinking. Okay. What I would do, David, we are not, whoops, wrong color. I like red. I feel like red is impactful. Let you know you did something wrong. I'm a teacher. I would eliminate every single tree. We're not going to do any of these trees. Not a single one. Not even this one. I don't like that tree either. We're eliminating every single tree. What we're going to do is concentrate on the land. We're going to bring this land slope. We're going to start it here. Remember, we faded our mountain all the way down and across. We're going to bring this land slope, go all the way across, just like that, okay? Now, I actually want you to stop. That's not a eraser. Where's my eraser? Wait, what eraser tool is this? Wait, why is my eraser painting blue? What the hell? That shouldn't be doing that. I'm not even on a different opacity. There's no layer underneath. All right, well, let's redraw this. What I want you to do is bring this land. Oh, okay. So now you want to erase? Bring this land right to here, okay? Right to here. And all I want you to do is make this a distant grass hill. So I want you to take a little bit of sap green, a little bit of cad yellow, and a little bit of titanium, or actually, yeah, titanium white. And maybe just a drop or two of thinner or a drop or two of liquid white, whatever you want to use. And just tap that in. We're working on distant hills, distant banks, okay? And what this is gonna do, you're gonna easily just take your 2-inch brush, tap in, 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 tap in. Then what you can do on your water is put a little bit of grass going the opposite way. Let's do it in this color. Tap in, 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 tap in. Then take your 2-inch brush, pull down. Okay. Remember though, when you pull down, I'll start on this side. This side, you can pull down a little bit further. This side, not so much, 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 and not so much, and barely here. And that's going to create our perspective. Get out of here. Our perspective, where's B? Of our land fading down and away, okay? And that's something we can easily do. And then you can just drag your water lines in with your palette knife and just cut them in just like that, okay? And now this side looks good. Now, what we want to do is build our land. We're going to do the exact same thing, except we're going to build this piece of land that comes in and just kisses barely over that other layer and goes right here. And then we're going to build our land as it comes down, and like that, we're going to make it bigger for us. And boom, we've simplified our land. Now we can build the same grass in the same way that we just did, water lines in the same way we just did, and we can actually do a little more detail here, David. So now you can put your tree, and what I want you to do is just 1 or 2 trees, build it up, zigzag down and out. So this way we can practice on a bigger thing. The reason people suck at trees or suffer with them is they try to do too many small trees. And to be honest, our hand isn't confident enough. It's not diligent enough because we haven't learned everything there. So let's start on a bigger tree like we can do over here, to where you can go slower, tap it in a zigzag motion, really push on that canvas, really get that color to stick. Then when we go in with our highlight color with a little bit of sap green, cadmium yellow, and titanium, or sorry, liquid white, mix into a creamier texture, then put in our fan brush, we can go slower. We don't have to do like Bob and go boom, 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 boom. We're not in the bedroom. Make a little love to the canvas, caress it a little bit, warm it up. A little bit of foreplay is always a good thing. Trust me, men, it goes a long way. Go there and go tap, 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 tap. All right, let's clean off the brush a little bit on a paper towel. Re-wet it. Tap, tap, tap. Stand back and look at it. Tap, tap, tap. All right, clean off a little bit of paint. Tap, tap. Okay, I'm feeling a little confident. Tap, 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 and work from there. And just remember, as you work your way down, whoops, that's too far. As you work your way down, your highlights are going to get a little less powerful because all these branches on top are blocking light from going down. Just remember, oops, no, done with that. Just remember, our light source is over here, so our highlights should be on this side here, okay? And I would just do 1 or 2 trees, or just 1, okay? Then you can add these rocks in where you want. Now, you actually did a pretty decent job with these rocks, I must say. The only thing I would probably recommend, I don't know what type of paint you have here, David. However, it could be a little creamier. So make a creamy Van Dyke brown by introducing medium into it, and a little creamier white paint, titanium white, zinc white, whatever you want. So that way when you take your brush, it's gonna flow. And you take that filbert brush, a softer filbert brush I find is easier for me, but it's personal opinion. And you just push in and curl, push in and curl, push in and curl, push in and curl. And again, I would simplify these. I feel like you did too many rocks over here. These set of rocks are great. And put these a little close to your landmass. So move these rocks since our new landmass is coming down in like that, or sorry, I guess it was more like this, right? Put some rocks here, some rocks here. Or I guess I should do this in a different color to make sense for you. Rocks here, rocks here. Do like a cluster of 3. That'll look good. And then since our other landmass is coming out in here, you can keep these rocks here and just do rock, rock, rock. And then I think everything will look balanced. And it looks like we're gonna have a little bit of a river slash lake that's opening up in this direction. Granted, we don't have any strong foreground perspective, but this is just a beginner painting, okay? So what we can do is either one of 2 things. we can have our water, which needs a little bit of work, just be itself. You need to add a lot more water streaks over here. Our light source is here. So our white reflection band should be here. You have it right here, okay? You could even have it here if you wanted to, and it could be opening up in this general direction, because our light technically could, I guess, come across from this side and scatter, but you have your highlight on the wrong side, your water reflection highlight on the wrong side. So make this, make this darker over here, this darker over here, and then fade the white over here. And it's going to create a more natural look. And it's actually going to be a lot easier than you think, and it's going to pay its dividend a lot. Then, if you want to, I would say maybe do this for the second painting, David, is now you can do like we did with Kim, or technically, I guess, Stephanie. You could put one more grass plane right here for a forced perspective. And you can do grass, or you could add a couple of bushes if you wanted to work on it like that. And boom, now you've got a better balanced painting that's going to look fantastic for you. Overall, I think you did a great job. But please, please, please go back, watch this VOD again, or make notes now. Simplify. Just to reiterate, simplification is going to help you so much here. You're trying to do too much too soon. Just like me on prom night. Didn't go well, okay? We need to simplify it a little bit more. 3 clouds. Let's start with a blank canvas here. 3 clouds. 1 cloud here, 1 cloud here, 1 cloud here. Remember to blend out the bottom, add a little bit of highlight. 3 mountains, or 3 mountaintops. Mountain going up, ridge down and fade out. Ridge up, fade out, okay? Bring those slopes down. Define them with your palette knife. Remember to identify your horizon line so you can fade out, so that way your background or your midground layers and tree layers will easily stick on top of everything else. Then bring your hill down and across, okay? Then bring this other hill down and across and maybe add some cut in like that. Then we can add our trees, our 2 trees, and then we can add our rocks in clusters of 3 or 1 or, you know, whatever you feel like. And then add in your water lines. I know this looks like nothing, but this is just like the quick relapse for you. And since we simplified it so much, it's going to be way more impactful, way more approachable, and way less intimidating. And I can already tell, David, when you were doing some of these parts, you were probably really, really frustrated with a lot of things. You're just like, fuck, these trees are hard. Fuck, my layers aren't sticking. Wow, I'm pushing in a lot of stuff. Why is it going so easy for Bob but not for me? And it's because it's a little too much too soon. It's nothing wrong with doing simple stuff. And I think when you simplify this painting right here, you're going to be like, wow, it looks so much better with just 2 hills, or it looks so much better with 1 ridge, or it looks so much better with my clouds, you know, in this way. And I think it's going to really, really work well for you. You still learning German? I don't know any German. I used to know some Spanish, but not anymore. It's kind of all gone by the wayside. But David, I think that was great. I think it's great. You just need to slow it down. Slow it down. Enjoy the journey. You know what really helps? Wine, whiskey. All good things. None of those bad. All beneficial. Oh my, oh me, oh my. These are great. Can you do a giveaway with that behind you on the table? My hat? My camera, my light? I don't know which table you're talking about. I don't have any paintings back there. Faux. I'm not sure how you say it. Foco? I probably do another one. I will have to go. You guys mind if I go to the bathroom real quick? Not that I really care what you think, but I'm going to. I think I have to go to the restroom a little bit. Ich bin aus Deutschland. You speak German? Let me hit the restroom here really quick. Give me 1 second. If there's anybody else that wants me to do one, if there's anybody in the channel, I prefer to do that. If there's anybody that's a subscriber, I prefer to do that. Or sorry, a YouTube member. Oh, I'm glad you found it. So give me 1 second. I'm gonna hit here. I'll even put on just a little bit of music for you. I don't know what song this is, so we'll just put that on really quick. Give me 1 second. I'll be right back in like literally a second. Okie dokie, I am back. Thank you guys for chilling out there for just a second. Oh, sure, take a break. Thank you. I love how you guys are so kind. You guys, I really love doing these. These are fun. I didn't need my phone. There's nothing interesting going on there. All the cool people are right here. Okay, let's if anybody in chat wants me to do theirs, if not, I can move on. All right, is Dan still here? I think Dan was still here. We can do Dan's, I believe. I think Dan had a good one. Or if there's any other YouTube member that wants me to do theirs, I can fit one in right now. It's just past a little past 9 where I'm at, so I can do one more probably. This one's actually really good coming up if we're gonna do Dan's. You know what I should have done? I'm gonna get a little bit more water. Give me 1 second. I'm gonna be BRB real quick one more time. I just want to get some more water really quick. Alrighty. I am back. Sorry about that. I probably should have gotten the water. Oh wait, Lorraine, you? Did you send me one? Oh wait, we got Dan. Let's do Dan and then we could probably fit Lorraine in here. Lorraine, what did you send it to so I can grab? You can stretch while you're gone. I should stretch too. Actually, I do need to stretch my back. I really want to paint a painting right now, but you don't have enough terpenoid. What you can do, what I recommend, LT, do yourself a limited palette painting. Find paints that are analogistic. A great one I didn't do. A great one I recommend, there we go, is do that purple splendor painting, okay? If you've got 2 brushes that are kind of similar, like two 1-inch brushes or two 2-inch brushes, have one for white and have one for purple, and you don't have to really use that much terpenoid or thinner. David, thank you so much for that 19 super chat right there, dude. I appreciate it so much. You are awesome. Thank you so much. You are so generous to share your talent knowledge with me, and thank you. Thank you for allowing us to take a look at your art. Thank you for having the confidence to paint and have a creative outlet. But also, thank you for that donation. That means the world to me. I don't know why my I don't know if I connected it. That counter should be going up because I was trying to get money for whiskey, and apparently we have. Thank you. See, there it pops there, but I don't know why it's not going to the donation counter, but I'll fix that next time. Hey, I can get whiskey now, so thank you very much. I appreciate it. What I would love to see, David, paint that exact same painting one more time and send it to me on Instagram or Twitter, and I'd love to see the changes. Plus, it'll show you how you've made some awesome improvements. But I was saying to LT is do purple splendor. If you go to my top 10 easiest Bob Ross paintings, I think it's number 3 or number 2. I can't remember which one it is. Or I think it's number 3. And that one is so simple, you don't need really any thinner. You'll probably just need it to clean those 2 brushes right at the very end. Just don't do the cabin. And that's a great skill building painting. Yes, Instagram. Okay, cool. Hey, what's going up? Oh my God, I thought the name was Lazan Lama, but Laz in Alma. I'm gonna go with Alma. Hopefully that's good enough. First off, here, loving it. Hope to catch your streams more often. Well, thank you. I appreciate it, Llama or Alma. How is your day going for you? Okay, let's do David's here, and then I can probably fit Lorraine's in really quick. Okay. And then I'm actually going golfing, believe it or not. So I got to get ready for that because I got to get changed. I got to go pick up beer, and I probably got to snack on something. In fact, actually, let me take another bite of my Cliff Bar here. Thank you for that dono. I really, really appreciate it. If you guys do find these streams or videos or anything helpful, it really does help support me if you become a YouTube channel member. You can do it for as little as $1. You can also do super chats or super stickers. I don't need anything big, but the donations, the monetized support that you guys lend to me really does help. Pretty much everything you guys have ever donated to me, given to me, all the ad rev, anything like that, it just goes into buying canvases, buying art. It's not like I live in a life of luxury. I mean, I've already got like 6 Ferraris. What else do I need? I need paint. I need canvases. I need brushes. I want to get more supply so I can review it for you guys. Like, I want to review the Bill Alexander brushes. I want to review the Bill Alexander paints. I want to review other mediums. I want to try out, I really, really, really want to try out different easels. I've never found one easel that is top, you know, like the king. I found easels that are good, but I would love to do reviews on easels because I actually really want to build my own easel and sell it. Another dream. All right, let's get my face out of here. Move on to the painting. Let's take a look here real quick. Is this done in acrylic by chance? Oh! Oh! Woo! No. TB. Don't let my whiteness fool you, kids. These moves kill on a wedding dance floor. Not my wedding. Just any dance floor. Oh, sick, son. Oh, thank you, TB. Going deep and going huge. Thank you for the love, TB. Gotta love him. Gotta love him. Thank you so much. Look at that, bro. Going in strong, going in tight. That sounded way more sexual than I wanted it to be. It sounded... Oh, God. I hope... never mind. Cool. Oh, God. Do I cook / bake or use any reference like whisking pancake batter in your latest video for talking about soft meringue? No, I don't bake, but I do cook. Actually, cooking is one of my passions. I only use the term whisking because a teacher taught me that for when you're like mixing paints, you want to whisk or making certain things. I think Bob even says it too. But meringue, because I love lemon meringue pie, and meringue always has those like whipped curled peaks, you know, almost what looks like How the Grinch Stole Christmas kind of style of the mountain. Thank you so much, TB. That was huge. You made your own easel with your husband? You'll have to send me a picture. I'd love to see what it looks like. Going inside next time you visit, it's going to take a lot of whiskey. But with that dono, I probably can get it. An annulment the next day. How dare you? I dance fantastically. I do a lot of hip thrusts. Okay, let's take this down and across. Grab, please, right here. Brenda is missing out. Missing out strong, Rye. This looks great. I feel like this has got to be... No, this can't be acrylic, I think, unless it's watered down acrylic. Or wait, maybe it is acrylic. He said yes. I'm imagining it is. Maybe I missed it. It's a very thin acrylic, but it looks very dry, which is why I say it. Dude, I am very good at drunken golf. I'm like super good at it. This looks fantastic. Let's start at the top here. Let's zoom out, get my ugly face back up in here. And I'm loving this. This is looking great. This is actually going to be a very simple painting to critique because a lot of things that we've said already, Dan, we can apply to here, okay? So you've done a lot of the basic elements that look great, but we can make some, excuse me, we can make some simple improvements here. I gotta love it, TB. Gotta get it up in the towel. Although Tally's starting to catch me on the stick, so I gotta find something else to do. Okay, so when we do your painting here, we've got some really good elements, but we can improve some, okay? Now, what I would recommend, now this isn't really necessarily true, but it's a little bit of a critique here, is we've established in your painting, by the elements in it, that your light source is over here, okay? This is your sun. He's super happy. This is Ryan on a date. And this is his girl holding his hand. And she's super upset. Like most of my Bumble dates. I don't even know where I'm going with this now. All right. We've got our sun. It's on this side. And it's shooting its rays of sunshine this way. So we have to define all of our highlights and our shadows to this point, okay? So with that said, we need to move this light zone to this side, okay? Because there's more light kicking down on here. So you need to flip-flop this. So what you need to do is when you paint in your sky, I want you to take your blue, okay? Start from this corner here and slowly work your way at an angle. So you're gonna go cross stroke, 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 and eventually fade everything this way because our light source is over here, so it's gonna be a lot stronger with intensity on that side, okay? And that's already gonna add a lot more depth to your painting. Now, when you do your clouds are blotches. And the reason it's a blotch is because you're having dry paint onto a dry canvas. So just like any acrylic artist out there will tell you, your canvas is gonna act like a sponge to any element you put on it, any paint, any medium. So if you're going to do something like a Bob Ross style, you either need to put a few more coats of gesso on and put down a liquid base and then work in sections. So when you're putting down your blue, put down a little bit of white paint first here so it'll blend with the gradient. Then when you're putting on your cloud, give it a few seconds for it to tacky up. Add a little bit of liquid medium, which I would recommend a retarder from Golden, glazing gloss medium. There's Golden also makes a thinner, or you can even add a little bit of white, Or sorry, water, a little bit of water to make it creamy, not too much, okay? And Tally does this all the time. TB's Tally, by the way. He was the guy that's been in a couple of the videos that we've done. Fantastic artist, fantastic person, and even a fantastic cook. So when you have that little when you have that little bit of a creamier paint, now we can do like we did before when we talked to Kimberly. We can whisk in. So figure out where you want your cloud point to be, okay? Let's say it's right here. We're gonna start right there. So we're gonna take, and just like we said, you're gonna go up, only worry about the top, go up, go down, go out, go around, go left, go right, do whatever you want, and take it where you feel like it should be. Then when we take our 2-inch brush, you're gonna have to work a lot quicker because this is acrylics. We can pull down this baseline here, okay? And we're just gonna smudge and pull out and try to pull down and across, okay? And we're gonna kind of just like whisk it out. And now I can't get all the same effect in Photoshop, but look how we already have what looks to be somewhat of a cloud. And you can pull it in any direction that you want, you know? Just like that. And then you can blend, pull, lift, and then work out your brush strokes. But you have to work a lot quicker in acrylics. So what I recommend when you do your acrylics is work in sections. Work in sections. You can't do what Bob Ross does, okay? You can't go, all right, I'm gonna take my paint and I'm gonna paint in my sky. Then I'm gonna paint in my land or my water down here. And then when you come back, you're like, oh shit, I didn't blend my sky enough. Well, too bad, dum-dum. It's already dry, so you're screwed. So you have to paint on top of it again. You're like, oh, I didn't finish my water. Now I got to go back here and do this again. And it just becomes a hassle, and you get a lot of layers. So work in sections, okay? So what I would recommend is paint your sky, let it tacky up. Then we can do our clouds, let it tacky up. Or do a cloud, let it tacky up. Then do another cloud and let it tacky up. So work in sections is the big thing here. Is that a cup or this? Dude, yeah, cabins are tough. Oh, have a good one, Yovet. Thank you so much for stopping in here. Have a great day and a happy Mama's Day if you're a mama out there. This is a great composition. We'll get there in a second, Tally. Leave me alone, Tally. I'm trying to help people out. Okay, so we got our sky and we got our clouds. You got to do the same thing that we were just talking about the last two people. We have to identify our horizon line. Your horizon line is technically like right here-ish, okay? So you kind of did it, and I'm proud of you. You see how you have your white area here? See how much it adds to the natural fading and element of this painting? Hopefully a lot of you see this from when you did yours. Like we had Stephanie, we had Kim. See how this little bit of light area just adds to the depth of the painting? Now it would be even accentuated more. Hey, big word for Ryan. If we just darkened up the sky like we said a little bit with that bluer color. But you did a great job just figuring out where your horizon line is. Now, the reason I'm establishing that is because we still need to work on our mountain. I would say simplify this still. This doesn't look that good, okay? Just being honest. You've got this background mountain that's not really working well with your sky. The color ratio is not correct. It's the same colors up here, which it wouldn't be. It would have a little more of a defining gray because it's closer to this. That's more advanced. So what I would say, to make things easy, let's just lose that. All right? Now let's concentrate on the big boy. Same thing we've had problems with most of our people tonight, and I'm guilty of this too. We have tiger claw mountains. I know. Okay, so you're bringing one line, one line, one line, one line. Not one direction, one line. See how you have everything going in the same direction. This is a recipe for failure, and nobody notices it until I point it out. I used to do this all the time. We need to break up the structure. Nature doesn't grow in straight lines mostly. So how about this, okay? Let's say if we were to take our mountain, let's bring it up higher, and let's bring it down and across, add one peak, and boom, fade, okay? Didn't think about it too much. This one you could almost take out and across if you wanted to. I think that actually looked better, but if you wanted to add a third, let's bring it down and fade right there, okay? There is your mountain. We've established where it is. It's going to go perfectly across this horizon line, which is going to have less paint on it because we left that band of white. So when we bring our other elements like our trees and stuff like that, you're not going to have any cross-contamination. They're going to stick a lot easier, and they're going to stand out in this element for the midground, okay? Then, this is tough with paint, or tough with acrylics, very tough with acrylics. I would recommend you can't really scratch in a line in acrylics because by the time you've already put in your mountains, they're starting to dry. So here's what I would do. The minute you put these lines in with a angled shader is going to be best. Once you start drawing these lines, I'm going to do it in blue here so you can see it. Let's say I was drawing this line here and I went up and down. The very next thing you should be doing is starting to pull this color down immediately and fade it where you want. Then draw this line and how you want it, and then fade that color down and immediately what you want. Because if you start trying to draw all these lines, this has already started to dry right here, and you're gonna have a hell of a time trying to pull it down. It's all about working in segments, and Tally will tell you that. You have to work in segments when you work in acrylics. The minute you start putting down acrylic paint, it starts drying in moments. So you gotta be quick, just like me on a date. It's really cool to see everybody's paintings. This is really, really fun, Kimberly. You'd be it even helps me because like for me, composition is my biggest problem. It's hard to think about how things are, how they lay, and it's cool to see other people's perspective on what they have. And you're like, oh shit, I never would have thought to put like a grass hill that meets into this grass hill that fades into the water. Like that's really cool, you know? Okay, so when you do that, You got to work in segments for the paint because it's drying so fast. Then paint breaks with acrylic is really tough. You actually, in my personal opinion, can't do it with normal acrylic paint. It's too soft. It's too liquid based because it's based from water. So you have to buy mediums to thicken it up, okay? Which would be like an impasto. I think you can use cold wax, but I'm not entirely sure. But you have to use a medium that's going to make it harder, okay? Which you probably don't have. But if you did, you could take it through, cut it across. What I would probably recommend is take an angled shader and just start working in and throwing in some thicker pulls and strokes and blending these down and in to create your highlight side as you come down and across. And then you could tap them here on the bottom so that way it fades up, so that way you have stronger peaks and softer bottoms. And you can do that for the same thing on the shadow sides too. You just got to work in segments again, and that'll help out a ton. Then you have a part that I absolutely love. This right here is great. You did like these background trees. I don't know. They're like weeds in a sense. They're all bending in the wrong direction. I don't know. Maybe they had a hard day. I don't know. This is it's kind of like, you know, like the wind was just going so forceful on them, but that's fine. Generally, trees will grow straight up towards light. I would say you probably missed out on a great opportunity. You have some trees here. You should have built one row here and one row here, because since you have this grass valley coming down and in like this, it would have really helped like focal point that into a spot, okay? So I would take these trees, if you paint it again, do one row here, take it all the way across, and one row here and take it all the way across. The reason I would do this line all the way across is these two trees are too detailed. They're almost the same detail as like these trees over here. These are only like, I don't know, 10, 15 miles from us. These should be like 50 miles from us. There's just way too much forced detail. Remember, things are in the background, less detail. Just tap them out a little bit. Grass, beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. I love the blocking and grounding of color that you have here. Cabin, I give you props. I can't really give advice on cabins because they're so effing hard, but I love that what you have. The critique I would have on the land as we get here is it's getting closer to us, so we need to add highlights, or sorry, we need to add more saturation to it and a little more contrast. Your bright spots are in the right area because our light source is here. However, now that we're here, we need to add a little more detail. So you could add a little flicking of grass with your fan brush, or like a really beat it up filbert, and just literally tap in, or like I told for Stephanie, if you take your fan brush, pull it through your paint, it's a little thinner, lay it kind of flat, you can start like tapping in from the side of the brush, and it's going to add these little like lifts, which look like grass or stems or weeds. And since we're getting closer, we can see a little bit of that. And when you lay it flat, it's not going on so strongly, and you can keep tapping over, which is going to fade it more into the background. But remember, this is really far, but this is getting closer to us, so we need to start seeing a little bit more detail. And I would probably add a little bit of brown here, just so it looks like the water edge is eating and eroding into that water. And then you can add a little bit of water lines that you scratch in. Also, when you get to the water down here, your sky is going to be a reflection of what your color is. So if you've got dark blue here or dark blue here, you need to add a little more dark blue here and a little bit dark blue here. When you get closer to this foreground element, or the bottom half of your canvas, that's when you can start pulling it in from the side, because your paint will be wet enough to do that down here. It may take a few layers because this is probably a super dry canvas. So what I would probably recommend is add a little bit of white paint with a thin medium, even water, put that down for a base layer, and then paint your blue on top of it, working from this corner and this corner, going up, but then pushing in. So brush stroke, or let's see if I can just show you real quick. So brush stroke, brush stroke, brush stroke, brush stroke, brush stroke, reload your brush, brush stroke, brush stroke, brush stroke, brush stroke. Make sure to leave this space. Whoops, that was way too big of an arrow. Make sure to leave this space right here, a little bit of white, so that way it looks like a natural reflection from your sky. Okay? Yeah, the midground trees are looking really good. You have one suggestion. Don't forget to sign your painting. I suck at signings, so I usually sign my back. of my paintings. You sold this painting to one of my colleagues, and it does have a signature on it. Oh, it's very dark. I think it's right here. I think it's down here. It's hard for you guys to see. It's like built into the hill ground right there. Okay. I think you tried to do a fence. I think that's what this blob is right here, but it's hard to tell. I'd probably lose it because it's so far in the background, it's hard to tell all the stuff that's going on in there. Go back to 0. There we go. Let's get this out of here. Duplicate this layer. Your trees are big blobs. I would say the weakest part of your painting is this, and this, and this. And so to give you some feedback here, since these two things are on opposite side of your canvas, you can work on these at the exact same time, okay? So you can do one of two things. You can build your tree first and then your foothill, or you can build your foothill, then your tree. The difference between the two of those is if you build your foothill first, your tree will be growing out of your foothill, which means the tree's technically in front, or you can build your tree, then build your foothill on top, which means the tree's technically growing on the back. It's really up to you. Either way, when you build your tree, I do like how you have your narrow zigzag, because it looks like it's a big, strong tree as it's going up. The only problem is you need to work on shape and pressure. So I would recommend if you do this again, eliminate this tree and eliminate this tree. Let's just work on these two. Really go slow like we did in the last one, and tap in with your fan brush the line that you want to follow. So let's just say this was your line you wanted to follow. Okay, we'll tap it in. Then we can go tap, 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 and just slowly work down. Since it's acrylic, by the time you finish it, it'll be dry. Start with a dark sap green paint, and then we can also do this one at the exact same time. We're putting on our base coat, so since these are going to be, it's going to save you on cleaning, just do the same thing, but work on shape. Just go, okay, I need to work on fatter side here. You can add more, you know? Then once these have tackied up, you can take a little bit of liquid, or take a little bit of white, a little bit of yellow, and a little bit of green, and maybe even a little bit of brown if you wanted to have these for different changing of seasons, and add in your highlight. Remember, our light source is on this side because your highlights have defined that, and your sky a little bit. So most of the highlights are going to be on, I guess I should do this in red for you. Most of your highlights are going to be on this side. Most of your highlights are going to be this side. You have your highlights on this side, so it's, you know, the opposite. And just fade those in and across. What I'd probably do first before your highlights is I would add in your trunk, because then your highlights can go on top of your trunk, which will make it look like it's fading into the tree there. And then it's good. And then when you bring your hillside down, just give it a little more shape. You can fade it into the water. It's okay if brown goes into your water. You're going to look through the water, and there's going to be that clear defined factor there. And then it's going to be a little tough. Add a little bit of water, or a little bit of liquid medium, or a little bit of thinner, and pull these down. It looks like you did, but there should be a lot more defined color here on the streak. This is all the same streak color. So I imagine you probably did it afterwards, or maybe your foothill is covering it up, but there should be a little bit stronger streak here. And same with your foothill. Just bring it down and across, and then just add your water lines here, and you're good. And you can add water lines on, you can add water lines right here, right here, right here. And then if this water's, and even back here, but feather these out back here, but it'll add a lot of depth. And then if your water's moving, just add a couple here and fade them down on the back end side, and it'll pull it back, you know? So it'll add a little bit more texture. Hey, what's up, Cool Key? How you doing there? And then you're gonna have a better complete painting. This is actually a very good composition painting. TB's right, but it can still be simplified a lot more to be more impactful for you. So darker sky, adding clouds that would help it out to pull it together. It doesn't have to have clouds if you don't want. Having that ridge line that comes up, like we said, and fades out and across. Leave that white horizon space. Only worry about the distant trees. I love this grass plane. I think this is beautiful. Don't even change that. You have beautiful dark texture on both sides that pull into this valley. That looks fantastic. I personally would lose the cabin because I find it to be hard. Do one tree here, have that foothill fade in, water lines, water lines, water lines, water lines, and you're good, dude. And you've got yourself a fantastic, much simpler painting It's going to actually have a little bit better composition and less struggles. But remember to work in sections when you're working in acrylics. It's a lot tougher. A lot tougher. But I give you props. That was fantastic. Ooh, I got text messages. My bays be hitting me. Oh, low battery. Low battery. That was great. That was great. I thank you for letting us take a look at it. Dan, I think you've got a lot of talent here. A lot of talent. I think you the other thing I would probably recommend, and this is just a personal opinion, your canvas, and this is not only a personal opinion, but a personal taste. Your canvas to me is extremely dry, which is fine. But I feel like if you're going to use acrylics, I would probably gesso your canvas like 3 or 4 times. So that way it's going to have a lot of smoother composition on it, and it's going to look not as patchy, but get used to using some mediums. Even using water multiple times will help you create smoother gradients and smoother transitions. But I would really recommend getting into using like thinner, golden thinner, or like a gloss glazing medium, or a glazing medium that's like matte or whatever finish you want to go for. Right now we're doing it cool key. You just submit it to me on my Twitter account or Instagram, and I'm doing my YouTube channel members first generally, and then I work down from there. But I don't know if I'd have time to do yours today. You can become a YouTube channel member, and next time I do this, yeah, you'd have first priority, obviously. But I've only got time, I think, for one more. And if you're interested in becoming a YouTube channel member, you can click on that link there, and you can sign up, and then you get a cool little badge next to your name like Kimberly, and you can start using some cool emotes, and you know, we can become friends, and hopefully I'll get to closer to selling out on YouTube, which is what I want. Yeah, it'll make your paintings look super sharp. Super sharp. When you have, the cool thing about when you have smooth colors is anytime you add a defined detail, it becomes even sharper, and it becomes even more noticeable, and it becomes this popping focal point, you know? And that's what you use as an artist, as one of your tools to create depth or create a feeling or create like a perspective, you know? Okay. Someone who is here, had one, I think, who sent me, and I forgot their name, so forgiveness, please. Can you remember who it was that sent me one? I think that was on Instagram or Twitter. If you can let me know, please, if you're still in chat. I think I got enough time to do yours. I heard a sound. Oh, thank you. Oh, TB has become a member. Good hair forever. So ironic for Tally. Thank you, Tally, for becoming a member. Thank you for that strong flex right there. I appreciate it, dude. Hey, what's up, Jesus? How you doing there, man? Long time no see. I got to, let's see, who was it? Dan, Jen, Steph. Was it? If it's not, I can do Rob. I could have sworn somebody else sent me one more. I'll have to take a look. I think it was Lorraine. Lorraine, what did you send it to? I forgot. Maybe it was my... Oh God, I forget where it was. Did you email it to me? Maybe it was an email. Tally, you gonna do anything cool for Mama's Day? Anything fun? Anything exciting? I got you Yvette's. I don't know where you sent yours to. I can feel like I has hairs now. Yovette sent us one, but she had to take off, so I think I could save it for the next time we do it, which will be awesome for her. Yovette's is probably gonna look fantastic. But I thought Lorraine Instagram messaged me or Twitter messaged me one, but I'm not seeing one. Unless it was just a tweet. I guess that could be it. No. Message requests. I got one from I Am Trash. Jesus Days, how you been, man? What have you been up to, dude? How's life treating you? How's everything treating you? I don't see anything sent to me on Instagram. I don't have any messages. Unless you tagged me. Did you like tag me in a post? Let's look up my hashtag. No, I don't see anything under that. I've got hearts. If you can send it, what's your name on Instagram? Mine's Wild for Games, technically. iStarg? I am not seeing that unless it's an old one. No, because it would have popped to the top. Instagram. Yeah, no, I got Instagram, but I don't have anything in my messages. Like, here's my messages. Nothing. And then if I go to requests, these are the only two from new requests, so I'm not seeing anything. She's out of town at the moment, so when she gets back, full steam ahead. Oh, that'd be cool, dude. Are you going to take her to a winery for a salmon dinner? Surprised you're not cooking. Or maybe wine and then you'll cook for her. And I got nothing under this. Like, these are all the peeps that I got for that. Mexicans celebrate Mother's Day on May 10th? I don't even know what today is. Today's like May the 5th or something like that? Or 6th, technically. Well, if we can't get yours up, Lorraine, because I only got a little bit of time, we can always do it next time. But I don't see anything on my Instagram. Mine's Wild for Games. Wild for Games is my IG. I'll post it right there in chat for you. While you're doing that, we can, or I guess maybe if Tally is so kind, I don't know if he's in front of a computer, maybe link my Instagram for me. That'd be nice. I mean, I could do it too, but I'm lazy as shit because I'm eating my Cliff Bar. But I got 15 minutes. I got 15 minutes. If you'd like me to do it right now, Lorraine, I can do it in the next 15. It'll be a quicker one. I'll be more than happy. Are you going to do anything for Mother's Day, Jesus? Also, you been playing any games, dude? You've been playing Call of Duty? What have you been up to? I haven't seen you in so long. I feel like I miss you. You're going to cook the salmon after the winery. See, there's a smart man. There's a man that knows how to treat a ladies. Knows how to treat the ladies. Well, I'm seeing if I get anything else in. So we have one. Let me see if I can pull it up here. Well, so I got one from Rob, who wanted me to do one, which we can take a look at really quick just for fun. But I'll probably save this one for next time, depending on if we can get Lorraine's up here in the next. It's okay. Look, it's all right. Well, then let's do Rob's here really quick. I'll put that away. We'll do a quickie one, because I believe Rob said he couldn't be here today, but I'm sure he'll watch the VOD. So hello. Also, by the way, if you guys like this, you can watch the VOD or leave me a comment in the VOD after the video is done. And you leave me a comment and all that fun stuff and like the video and all that stuff. Really, really does help. And I'm going to try to make this more of a regular thing. I'm not sure how often, maybe once a month or maybe once every other week. We'll see how much you guys like it, but it seems like you guys are having fun sharing your art, which I appreciate. And it seems like you guys are learning a lot from it and all that stuff. Oh, have a good one, Dan. Thanks for stopping in here. Yeah, I got yours, Trash. I might have to save it for next time, though, just because there was other people ahead of you. But don't worry. I will definitely do it. All right. And I got 15 minutes to finish this one up, so let's do a power one here. This will be a good one. Let me get a good drink of water. Let's stretch it out. Oh, this is going to be good. Oh, all right. This sucks. This art's the worst I've ever seen, and we're done. I'm just gonna that'd be so mean. This one sucks. This one sucks. This one sucks. This one sucks. This one breaks my soul. No, that'd be so sweet if I just did reviews that way. All right, let's move me away from here. Let's take a close up of this. Also, duplicate this layer really quick. So I love the colors in this. This is looking awesome. We got a lot of thick layers, mountains, mid-ground trees, mid-ground land forming into a lake, and then foreground trees and highlights. We got the term for this one we're going to use is thick. And we're going to also stick with the word simplistic. So when Rob watches this, hi Rob, I want him to think of the word simplistic as well. That's what we've been noticing for a lot of people here. So what I would probably recommend is if you want to do multiple colors in your sky, you got to define if you want your multiple colors to come from your sky or your clouds. You can do both as you get a little more advanced, but since we're working on simplistic, what I'd probably recommend Rob, is I would probably blend in my alizarin crimson or bright red color and my blue, but leave them separated by white so that way we can add clouds into that white spot, okay? So take your 1-inch brush, swirl in your colors, take your 1-inch brush with your blue, swirl in the colors, leave those separations, then blend in with a 2-inch brush so that way it's going to create these beautiful light reds and light pinks and dark blues and light blues that are going to collide in the sky and look awesome. Then that white spot we left there, we can fluff in our clouds just like this. What color am I on? You can fluff in your clouds just like that and add certain spots with white. And then when you blend in your body, lift and blend out the bottom and then stroke out all the strokes, it's going to pick up that undertone of blues. It's going to pick up under that undertone of red, and they're going to look like multiple dancing colors in the sky. And that would be a lot easier for you. It looks like you try to put in a little shading of blue and then a little bit of shading of red clouds, hence pink. But it looks like it got a little away from me because it's all over the place a little bit. Like I can't really concentrate on what the sky is. Doing it the way that I said would be a lot easier. Plus, if it gets away from you with the way that I did, you can then go back on top of your clouds with a thinner white. Put on kissing of crown colors, like lights hitting that certain side. Your light's coming from right to left. So add some highlights on top, and then that's going to give it a little kiss of color. And that's going to, a kiss of highlights, which is really going to give it some big depth. I'll hurry back, Rye. Won't be the same without you. So our mountains here, again, like we've been saying, is too much. Too much. Look, we got 1 peak, 2 peaks, 3, 4, 5, 6 technically. Don't know what happens over here. 7. I guess 7 peaks. Way too fucking many. Way too fucking many. That's just for a new painter, that's way too much. Okay, I like how you have your cliff or your mountain off-centered. I think that's awesome. So let's stick with that. If I was going to do this, I would bring this mountain up, down, and fade. Then I would take this one, up, down, and fade. 2 mountains. That's all we got to do. And then I would take this, break down and over, take this, break down, maybe go up, and then break down and come across. So now we can do our highlight side on this, bring down and allow it to fade off because we know we're putting a tree here, so we can really work off the paint that's down here. Then pull this. I would actually pull this down into the shadow side, this down and into the shadow side, just like that. And then I would take my shadow color and work it this way and fade it into this highlight. And we're going to create a beautiful valley here. And as we get down into here, we're going to use less color because we're going to put other colors on top of it. And then just fade this down like that. And then maybe even fade this down just like that. And then look, within just a few moments, we've created an easier, more balanced and simplistic painting. It's a lot more attainable to do. Okay? You just sent it again? Let me just check to make sure it came through. If I could find my shit. Did you send it through Instagram or Twitter? Lorraine. So right there off the bat, Rob, way better balanced painting, okay? So let's get rid of this layer. That way we're all on the same page. Then as you come across, you've got 1, 2, and I think technically 3 background layers of distant trees or hills. What I would probably recommend is over accentuate this and over exaggerate it since it's one of your first paintings, and just make 2. So let's put 1 layer going this way and across, fading up into here, and then we can do another one. Well, you can do it the same way, I guess, if you wanted. Fading down and across. But we need to add real big separation points. The separation points is when you start tapping in those tree top lines, really fade in the bottom with a 1-inch, a filbert, or a fan, and pull it down, and then tap it out so it creates that diffusion of white banding in between. Then when your tree layer goes on top or between that, it's going to have the separation value. You kind of do that. You kind of do it like you can see it right here and right here. but it's not enough. And also these colors are too similar to create depth and characteristics in your painting. You need to have contrast, light to dark, dark to light, light next to dark, dark next to light. And sometimes you can do that with saturation values. Okay, these are just too similar and too mudded. And then this is also too similar and too mudded to this. We need to really have some depth and some separation. Okay, so we got that tree line there. Then unfortunately your land looks very, very flat. And this can be tough. This can be tough because we're starting to get into very thick paint usage. On Instagram, I don't have anything from you on Instagram. Here, let me pull up my profile. Here. Oh, that'll work, I guess. Here, Lane, tap on that. Make sure you go into that. That's my Instagram right there, because I don't see anything from you again. And I don't see anything in the request section. Yeah. Let me know if it goes through on this time. So for when you bring in your land, tap in with your brush on a nice big 2-inch or even, that foliage brush, dude. It's such a good brush for all this stuff. Tap in and go across. I just lost my, there it is. Tap in and go across and just build this land and just build rows and rows and rows going across. But remember to fade the bottoms down, okay? The top of your grass level should be the most defined. And once you have it, you can start working from a lighter green with a little bit of yellow in it to a darker green that has less yellow in it. But then you can start adding thicker, brighter highlights with yellows and oranges and reds and even whites for specular highlights that may be hitting down and top on down and on top of this grass layer here, okay? And when you do that, it's gonna be a lot easier to build your water. Whoops, that's not blue. A lot easier to build your water around it by encapsulating around that grassland, because then you can start scratching in your water lines, which is going to look beautiful, and then you can fade them a little bit with a fan brush or a filbert, so that way it looks like they're in the distance. Now, whatever you do up here in your sky has to be reflected down here in your water, and you actually do a decent job of that. However, you have pink over here and no pink here. You have your blue here and blue here, which is good, and you do have a pink and pink here, but you could probably even make these a little bit stronger in the water since they're closer to us. These can be a little more saturated down here, and then as you work up, fade away because it's getting away from us. But that's going to build perspective and depth and also look a little more interesting. When you get to your grass layer here, almost say the right word. When you get to your grass foothill here, I would actually take this layer and I would build it on top of this. So that way it pushes this layer back. So move this and build that layer down in here, and then you can kind of like pull it across like that. Then we can have our tree come out this way, okay? That's gonna really push this painting back even further. Now the problem is you have all of these bushes on a slant, which is fine. That can happen in nature. However, there's a better way to build it. When you build these bushes, you're gonna do bush, 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 then another layer of, let's do it with red. Then another layer of bush, 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 then another layer of bush, 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 then another layer. It doesn't always have to be 3, but you get my point. You want to build these in front of each other because these are all going to be mixed and mashed and going in certain directions. You don't want it to have sloping because it's very rare that it would kind of just slope down and across. It's not building a lot of depth of what you have, all right? And also you have way too many highlights on top of other highlights. You need to leave some shadow colors, like your yellows and oranges are all kind of on top of each other. So think about doing a bush at a time. This is where it really is beneficial to have 2 brushes, one for your shadow color or your base color, which is your green ground. Oh, it's okay, Lorraine. Maybe we'll try for next time. I don't know why it's not going through for you, but we'll figure it out. We'll figure it out. You have one brush for your base ground color and then one for your highlight color. So do like one bush, 1 or 2 bushes, because you do them next to each other. Bush, bush, highlight, highlight, you know, and that becomes easier. So that way you can really visualize where you need to leave lights and darks as you build your multiple layers of trees. And it's really going to be super, super easy for you, or way easier, I should say. I shouldn't say super easy because, as we know, bushes and trees are not fun. And then when you work on your grass that comes across, you can be a lot heavier handed with that foliage brush, sorry, Kim, or your 2-inch or 1-inch brush, because you can leave a lot more thicker paint to leave grass blades that it looks like. Just lay that brush flat and tap across as you come down and across. Then you can grab your remaining grass on the bottom and pull straight down to create easy and beautiful reflections, okay? Then if I was you, if you're just starting out, Rob, I'd probably let the painting tacky up for a day or two before going back and adding these trunks and trees, because these are tough. You have a ton of mud mixing, a ton of it. And you know what? It doesn't look good, and I know because I do this all the time. It's tough. It takes a lot longer. What you want to do is, I would recommend when you put your trunks in, use a filbert and use it as dry as you can get it and scratch in / template out where you want your tree to go. So you're going to wipe off all that excess color that has already been put on the canvas between your mountain and your midground and your foreground and your bushes and your grass and all that stuff. Because right now it just looks like you're painting paint on top of paint on top of paint on top of paint on top of paint, and it's hard. It's very, very hard for a beginner. So let's make it easier by scratching that all out. Adina, thank you for the sub. I appreciate it. So when we can eliminate all those extra layers, the next layer that goes on top of a drier canvas is going to stick a lot easier. Plus, it'll allow us to template out our branches and our tree, or sorry, our trunk and our branches with a much thinner paint. So I would recommend you do that or let it tacky up. Then we can do our leaves. And I would recommend, since you've got so many layers of paint everywhere, we need to use a very creamy paint. You need to use liquid white, liquid clear, or the Gamblin solvent-free gel. And I would recommend that you make, depending on your ratios, I'd probably make a creamy a creamy base leaf structure that was probably 10 to 15% of a medium to paint, okay? That's going to be creamy enough for when you go in and tap in all of your leaves and your leaves on your trees here. It's going to come off easily. You actually did a pretty decent job with your leaves. I'm very impressed with your fan brush and pushing down and getting them to stick. Then when you want to put your highlight color on that, I want you to use an even creamier paint, which is going to probably be like 25% liquid medium to color. That's going to go on your brush, and it needs to be thick. It needs to have these little peaks for when you go on your palette, that when you push in and pull up, little peaks are like popping off, because that means that when you push, it's going to stick easily. And what I want you to do is, since our light source is right here, right there on our right hand side going to left, is you need to add highlights just on the top. Go like a little bit off of your leaves with your brush and have them stick as you come across. And put your highlight, 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 highlight. And then as you work down your tree, you're going to put less highlight, because obviously light is having a harder time going through your tree, which means it's going to be less intense as it reaches the bottom. And then you want to do the same thing with the highlight on your trunk. Since our light, again, is coming from right-hand side, all of your, I forget, but like willow tree bark stuff should be start from this side and be pulled to the side. You need to leave dark on your left side of your branches, or sorry, your trunks here. That's going to add more depth to it. Then you want to do the same thing on your, what do you call these things? Branches? Not branches. Roots. On your roots. There we go. I got roots. Yeah, the bushes are thrown off. Just the reason is because it's this straight line. Oh, it's straight curved line. There's no breaking in it. Bushes do not grow like perfectly, you know? There would be like different motions to it that it needs to build that land. Then the last thing I would say is, you can tell this was thrown in last minute. Either eliminate this bottom corner and just bring your trees from off canvas. That'll look perfectly fine. That can happen. Or when we move this up, like I said, we can bring this grass plane a lot higher, creating a better force perspective for the rest of the painting. And that'll look really, really good. Hey, what's up, Angie? You sent a few? Awesome. We'll have to get them for the next one. It's very interesting seeing similar mistakes. We all make a lot of the same mistakes. And it's funny because I'm sure, Kim, when you look at it, you go, if I was doing this, I would fix this. You're like, oh, the perspective of the mountains is off. I would take away 7 peaks and add 2 or 3. Or I would do this with my sky and I would move this up and I would not put such thick highlights here, or I'd build my land. And then you look at your painting and you're like, oh shit, I did the same thing. It's funny when you look at other people. You want to use it as a learning mechanism, which is why I'm like, glad that we can all share our stuff together. I make a lot of the same mistakes, and my friends pointed out to me and they go, bro, this tree shouldn't be here, or you didn't fade your light correctly. And I'm like, oh yeah, that's right, my highlight's on my left side this time. It's like sometimes you get stuck in your own brain that you forget what you're doing, and it's really beneficial when someone else can point that out to you. That's why everyone needs to have art friends. And I mean people, not just your friends, but people you can trust. TB in the chat right now is my buddy Tally. And I know if I send him my artwork, yeah, we have our first impressions. We're like, bro, that's sick. But if I was like, why'd you use red? That doesn't work well with gold here. Like, I kind of get that you're going for the contrast and you're going for this, but it doesn't fade naturally. Or I don't understand why you used warm colors in this winter scene when you've established the cold environment. Or, hey, the perspective isn't right here. It should be fading to the right, but you have everything fading to the left, even though you've made your perspective from the bottom corner here in this way. It's really good to have ideas and things that you can bounce off people. Friends and family are cool, but they're always like, oh, Kim, that's so good. Your stick figures are the best. It's like, cool, thank you for the, you know, the ego boost, and I do appreciate those. It's just like when I'm like, people tell me, I was like, Ryan, you're so handsome. You got the best hair on YouTube. And it's like, yeah, I know that. And it's true. But I like it when somebody can give me honest, critical, unbiased feedback that is constructive and not just like trashing you, because, you know, we don't want that. Just be like, hey, for Rob's painting right here, I like it. I love how he has the colors going onto his mountains, which is beautiful. He's got the separation going out through here. I just think it would benefit from being way simpler. Putting in a sky that's more manageable, that's not going to be convoluted with all these multiple colors and clouds on it, I think would really pay dividends. I think doing 2 or 3 peaks would really help. Having separation between your background tree layers would be very, very good. Figuring out how you want to layer your grass fields into your water, moving this land up and building from here, letting it tacky up so it's not as mud mixing, then building your branches out and tree trunks out in the correct way is really going to help. In fact, I would probably actually lose, if I was going to redo this painting all myself, I would lose these trees entirely, keep this one tree, move this landscape up, and then build a nice big land coming out here with grass and maybe a little bit of like flowers on it. Just take a few colors and tap them in. It's going to look like little wildflowers are growing out, and that makes it way easier and more manageable, and it's going to look beautiful. It's going to look beautiful. It's a very oriental style. It's because of the fading of the colors with the white is what gets you that. But everybody should get some friends. Get some YouTube friends. Or YouTube friends. I'm sorry. I'm your YouTube friend. Everyone should get art friends that they can bounce things off of. Thank you so much for your time and critique of my painting. You're awesome. Thank you. I can't wait. I can't wait to see what you guys paint in the next ones. I don't know if I'll have time to do this again next week, but if you do, please let me know that you like it. Any of you out there that are still watching, thank you so much for tuning in. And if you like this, I would really like it if you could follow me on Twitter and Instagram and YouTube. If you haven't followed me on YouTube, you can do so now. And I do appreciate all the donations, all the channel members, all that fun stuff. If you want to support the channel, you can do all those fun things. You can even give super thanks and all that stuff. It all goes right back into the channel. Or like that donation counter there says whiskey. Not sure why that's not counting up. Got to check on that. But thank you guys so much for tuning in. We released a video today on my Wild Creates channel that shows you how to make a liquid white alternative. It's actually a liquid white gel that works fantastic. And then I actually have, I think, a video dropping Monday or Tuesday that features the great Tally Who, which is awesome, where you get to see one of our favorite paintings, which is called Raw Energy, which is an acrylic pour, then pop art done on top of that. And I'm sure if we ever put it up for sale, it'll sell in seconds. Don't know if I want to sell it because it's so beautiful. I love it. Then I have a video coming out after that sometime that we'll figure it out. But if you guys like these videos, please keep letting me know. Keep sending me your art. I love everything that you do. Go watch my new video. Makes me feel better about my day. And I will see you guys all next time. Have a great day. Have a great weekend. Happy Mama's Day to all you mothers out there and all you mothers to be. And hopefully, I don't know, maybe I'll go on a date this weekend. Do girls still like Subway? Subway meatball subs? I feel like that's always like a good date. But I'll let you guys know how it goes. Take care. Have a fun one. And as always, take care. And of course, peace.